Good morning to you. It's another Saturday and welcome to New Day Saturday edition. My name is Abnatabi. It's good to have you join me. So we're coming to you live from the studios of TV3 here in Accra. We are also live on 3FM 92.7 and are streaming live on the World Wide Web at tv3network.com. As usual, we'll be coming to you between now and 10 a.m. when we draw the curtains on the show. But before then, we would have done some justice, real justice to some issues lined up for discussion. So what are the issues for discussion this morning? First up, we'll be looking at the debate around the Supreme Court judgment in the Abu Ramadan case. You remember that it's been about 3 weeks ago, the judgment dated 5th May 2016 was given. And the debate that it brought in its wake is still raging on. Now this week, specifically on Thursday, Justice Jones Doche, one of the seven justices who sat on the case, commented on the judgment. Justice Doche is reported as saying, quote, "We, that is the Supreme Court, said the use of the NHIS cards is therefore unconstitutional, and it," referring to the EC here, "should take the opportunity to clean the register of those undesirable persons." Now, Justice Doche continued that we also do not want to disenfranchise anybody. So the Supreme Court went on to say that anybody who will be affected by that exercise should be given the opportunity to register according to the law and the Constitution, period, unquote. Justice Doche also added that the Supreme Court was clear and persons struggling to understand the ruling should, quote, come back to the court. Now, what would bring closure to this unending matter? Folks, remember that we have just about 5 or 6 months to go to the polls. We cannot be dilly-dallying about this all-important issue. Now, the question is, should the plaintiffs go back to court to seek clarification, or what are the options available? My guest here would be bringing their perspectives to this matter, and we'll be delving into all the angles related to this issue. Now, we'll also be looking at the issue about the IGP, where he's saying that there's likely to be a total shutdown of social media on election day. Yes, that's what he said. Well, this is what the IGP is considering. At an encounter with the media in the week, the IGP said the Ghana Police Service is considering a clampdown of social media on election day, basically to inhibit the negative use of social media to ultimately maintain peace and order. Now, this proposal is obviously coming against a background of some experience in some African countries, specifically the Republic of Congo and Uganda. We remember that earlier on in the year, Uganda in February blocked access to social media during its elections. And later on in the Republic of Congo, something similar happened. Now, the president of the president of Uganda, Yoweri Museveni, is actually on record to have defended the shutdown and is quoted as saying, it was a security measure to avert lies intended to incite violence and illegal declaration of election results. Now, the question is, do we emulate basically or simply for the sake of emulation? Shouldn't we consider country context before we take on these decisions? We'll be looking at all the angles related to this matter as well, looking at the various rights, national security interest concerns, individual rights, rights to freedom of expression, rights to information, among others. Again, my panelists will be bringing their reasoned perspectives to this matter. And then lastly, we'll go to the ECG, high electricity tariffs, malfunctioning meters, and billing software is what we'll be looking at. The Ghanaians in recent times have had to contend, in addition to high tariffs, we've had to contend with the issue of a faulty software for billing by the ECG. And this has led to the PURC actually making or giving a directive that the ECG should cease the operation of this billing software. What are the issues around this matter? This is New Day Saturday edition. We are going to start talking, but before then, let me introduce who the guests are today. From my immediate left is Mr. Kojo Insafwa Poku, an energy expert. Next to him, on my left is Mr. Ayikwe Otu, former Attorney General and a member of the New Patriotic Party, NPP. On my right is lawyer Yao Opong. As it goes, yes, he's a lawyer and a lecturer at the Central University. Next to him is Mr. Chumesi Apia. He is a former NDC MP for Sine constituency. You're welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you. How are you?
Very well. I hope you all are. Great. So as outlined, we have 3 issues, very important issues to be looking at this morning. We'll start with the Supreme Court judgment where Justice Doche made some comments this week, specifically on Thursday. Now I'll start with you, Mr. Ayikwe Otu. Your take on this matter. This matter has been raging on since the judgment 5th May 2016, about 3 weeks into the period, and we still have the matter going on. Your take on this?
Well, thank you. First of all, let me say that I do not want to put blame on journalists, but if you decide to go and ask somebody's opinion on a matter, and a person expresses their opinion, I think it's only fair that you leave it at that, instead of calling people, making it look like a factional matter. MPP lawyers, NDC lawyers, everybody is saying things, people trying to, if you like, attack his credibility and all that. I have not been happy with that, and I refuse to comment. Anybody who called me, I said, no, the man had gone to do a program. He was on his way out. You accosted him and said, there's this problem. Can you please explain to us? Then he explains. Thereafter, NDC apologist or whatever, say,
But
he has
Mr.
no
Ayikwe, was he
ethical
obliged
rights.
to
Why?
necessarily
Why
comment?
did they go to ask him the question? I know that is what you journalists do. But the question, why do you start? Yes. If you know that what you are going to ask him will create difficulties for everybody, why do you even go and ask him the question at all? And thereafter, you now turn around to say that he should not have commented, he cannot sit on it. Who says anybody cannot comment on a judgment? Everybody can comment on a judgment. It is the way you comment which matters. If you go and say that the Chief Justice is a liar, for an opinion he has expressed in a judgment, that is scandalizing the court, and that you may have difficulties with. But otherwise, we have every right. I mean, justice emanates from the people. Everybody has a stake on what is going on. So my view is that, the way it's been, people are trying to bastardize him is something that I don't like at all. I mean, it was not necessary, because you could have chosen to leave him to go away. But he felt that maybe you had a genuine concern, that you did not understand the issues. And you said, oh, okay, what is it that we said? There has been Abu Ramadan number 1, Abu Ramadan number 2. In Abu Ramadan number 1, we identified those who registered with the national, insurance card. And we said that that is clearly inconsistent with Article 42, because Article 42 talks of only citizens of Ghana 18 years and above of sound mind. And if you look at, is it CI 91 or something, also adds should be living within the electoral area and should not have been, prevented from, registering by any law, things like that. So if the NHIS holders, are basically people who are looking for some insurance cover to run away from cash and carry, then anybody can go and get an NHIS card. It does not necessarily have to be a Ghanaian. And therefore, it does not meet the qualifications of citizenship or proof of citizenship. Clearly, since in CI 72, the right was given to the people to register with the NHIS card. Would you say that what they did was wrong? To me, if I had option, use national ID card, use a driver's license, use a passport, a card showing that you are previously registered, or an NHIS card. Therefore, I decided that, look, this is an option. So I leave all the rest and go and register with that one. Later on, you say that it is inconsistent with Article 42. Fine. Should I be necessarily be disenfranchised because of that? Says no. Give them the opportunity again. If they have ways and means of proving that they are Ghanaians, so they can now be re-registered. How can this lead to confusion? At the end of the day, Article 22 says that after giving declarations, the Supreme Court can now give directives so as to ensure an implementation of whatever they have declared. So a clear direction is given. Delete or clean up names of those who are on the register, but whose position does not appear to be consistent with the Constitution. So it is true that NHIS holders was never mentioned. But go back to the first judgment. It has said that these things are unconstitutional. So what is the second one telling you? If it says make sure that everybody there should be consistent with the Constitution, it's telling you that these people should be. Now, ask yourself, how can a dead person be given an opportunity to re-register? Or a minor who has committed an offense should be given the opportunity to re-register what? You know, so it can only, the most logical inference is only the holders of NHIS. You know, so the fact that that word was not used, the magical words that delete those who register with NHIS cards, you know, ID cards, does not mean that the Supreme Court has not given you a directive. When the word delete or clean is used, this is a direct order to you. Are you saying what? What is the confusion? I don't understand it. I said it earlier, that I have followed the media discussion. Anytime there is a Supreme Court judgment or a judgment having to do with the EC, the first group to talk about it are the NDC apologists. Why? Have they become the spokespersons for the EC? The EC is made up, I hear out of 7, about 4 of them are lawyers. Why don't you give them the opportunity to go back and think about it and come out with a decision? But the first groups the thing has no retrospective effect. And nobody has said you should go and remove this. They keep on saying these things. I don't know how it gets into the minds of the EC. Somewhere along the line, the EC will begin to toe the same line that the NDC lawyers or people start talking about. I don't know. Allow the EC to take a decision. Let the EC people think of what has happened and let them take a decision one way or the other, whether they are going to delete or not to delete or obey the instructions of the Supreme Court instead of NDC people deciding to talk for them. And at the end of the day, in fact, I have said that if indeed at the IPAC meeting they did say that they are not going to delete any names, then they are in contempt of court because there's a direct order to you.
Great.
I mean, that's my take
I'll come
on
to you, lawyer, Mr. Pong. So deletion, I think what the EC is struggling with is how to. And they are saying they're going to do that in accordance with the applicable law or the existing law, which for them is the CI 91, which specifically talks about the exhibition. I think that's where we are at now. Is it automatic deletion or they go in accordance with the exhibition provisions?
Well, thank you very much. I will also start by making reference to the Justice Doche issue. And if you may permit me, I will just make a quick reference to a quotation which I've repeated over time in the case of Republic versus Osei Mensah Bonsu, where Judge Sadade said that it is often remembered that judges, seen by many as very strong, are in fact the weakest members in the society. We receive blows, we cannot throw any. A factor to be taken into account when a member of the public is inclined to criticize us. They also say that we say all we can in the newspapers and on radio in the media, but they have no opportunity to respond. And so I was surprised that not only was he criticized, but his person and his profession, professional capabilities and so on were even questioned. Well, the good thing is that some right-thinking members of society have also disagreed with those who were vehement in their criticism of him and even the use of intemperate language. But in that same case, the Sadadi said that at times some of us feel that our judgments are not criticized enough, especially by the legal profession. I expect, however, that the language of criticism will be tempered and measured. It is not often remembered that, and then they go on. So with that, we come to that judgment. And when you look at the first Abu Ramadan case, and that's where I will get to the last bit of your question, the issue of the procedure or the process of cleaning was raised in that case. And the Supreme Court, speaking through the Chief Justice, had very strong words for the EC. And this is what the court said. Now, from a fair reading of the entire legislation, that is CI 72, in which persons were allowed to use the NHIS card to register, one may want to question the wisdom and propriety of handling this important national constitutional exercise, namely the rather taxing and expensive process of registration without regard to legality and in a slip-up manner, on the assumption that the challenge mechanism will correct any errors or flaws. To advocate that the only data needed, then it goes on to say, it is for the ultimate purpose of achieving a more credible and reliable register that avenues are subsequently created for cleaning the provisional registers, as the expression has become known to our jurisdiction. But provisional register, no, then it goes on, an unhealthy reliance on the challenge and complaints tier is bound to generate chaos, confusion, and anarchy at registration and polling centers. It will indeed be palpably wrong to view the registration process as a license for either throwing overboard the constitutional restrictions or handling the registration process itself haphazardly. Then it says, the interpretation urged on us by the second defendant counsel and his underlying philosophy is negative. It does not promote excellence in work ethic, and the same ought to be rejected. It dignifies mediocrity, which certainly is not a value that in this court should endorse or promote. So this is what the court said about the process of the complaint process, which is what people are now using as the only procedure by which they can remove names. The Supreme Court has referred to it as an exercise in mediocrity, and that they would not endorse or promote that. What they said, even in the second Abu Ramadan case, as Senior Ikwe has rightly put it, just remove these names. But I interpret that this way, other people also don't agree, that first of all, publish these names, which got into the register by the use of the NHIS card. Give them an opportunity to appear before the appropriate authorized persons of the EC to prove that indeed their names, to prove why their names should not be deleted. And if they were not able to satisfy you because it is obvious they use the NHIS card, remove these names and give them an opportunity first to prove that they are Ghanaians, because you cannot use the NHIS card as a conclusive evidence of your nationality as a Ghanaian in that case. So they should prove and use other means permitted by law. Now you can even go with one person to guarantee, and one person can guarantee for 5 people. That is an acceptable procedure now. All right, so for me, I think there was no ambiguity in the judgment. People who disagreed with the Supreme Court conjured one, manufactured one, and pressed it on everybody to let it sound or appear to be an ambiguity contained in the judgment or the decision itself. I don't see that. Of course, that is law. I mean, law is just like a coin. Depending on which side you are holding, you see a different image, another person will see another image. But in that case, all I say is that I disagree with those who have created this non-existent ambiguity, and because a judge What did he say? He just said that, well, did you not hear us clearly? This is what we said. Then people turn around, now even issues about ethics. When their ethical rules say that a judge can make public comment on judgments and other matters in the public domain. And people are saying a judge cannot comment on a case he had heard before.
I think there's that misperception in the populace that judges typically wouldn't necessarily.
Oh, but I think
it's a misperception.
Especially for those championing that cause who are lawyers. When we go to bar conferences, each year at least we get one judge, Supreme Court judge, who reviews the cases, including cases they've been on. Sometimes they say that on hindsight, this is what we should have said. Or because of lapse of time and changes in circumstances, if another matter comes, we propose that this should have been the process. Even in the presidential election case, in the final judgment, some of the judges said that certain decisions they took during that time, upon hindsight, they shouldn't have taken that decision in the same judgment. So this is something that we hear. That's why I'm saying that for those who are familiar, and we should rather lead it. But I still say that, well, I only disagree with them. I'm not here to condemn anybody's judgment or exercise of his right to critique. But the point really is that, as far as I'm concerned, Justice Doche has the right. He's a citizen of Ghana. There is no matter before him. He is functus officio. He can make such fair comment. And in fact, he only repeated what the court said. When he was pushed, he said, well, I'm not going to interpret the judgment for anyone. I have just stated what the Supreme Court said. And if anybody, and people say that if anybody doesn't understand, he didn't use that word. If anybody is aggrieved, it doesn't mean that if you don't understand, come back for clarification. If you are aggrieved or dissatisfied, there is a known process, maybe by review or any other allowable process, to go back there, and there you are going to justify why you have not complied with it. And as has been rightly said, the procedure of non-compliance with a Supreme Court order pursuant to a constitutional matter that has been determined is very clear. If you're a president, it's a ground for impeachment. Vice president, a ground for impeachment. If you are one of us or myself, ordinary, then that one, 10 years imprisonment with other sanctions, including not holding public office for a number of years. So these are very serious matters. And just to complete, the courts have consistently held, even in that further case, it is not for lawyers or the litigants to decide which decision of the court they should comply with. Otherwise, there will be chaos. Even if a court makes an order which on the face of it is wrong, comply with it. Or go and have it set aside on appeal or even by the same court. But you cannot decide that I don't agree with the court, I don't understand it, so I will not comply with it. That is not for you. You are likely to face the appropriate sanctions from that court.
Very well. I'll come to you, Mr. Safwa. Clearly speaking, picking up from where Mr. Opon left off, the various options or alternatives or approaches to expunging the names. There's right now I'm seeing two schools of thought, if you like, or two approaches. There's the initial deletion and then giving the affected persons the opportunity to re-register. Or, as Mr. Opon is saying, publish, invite them to come, show why their name should not be deleted. So clearly, we are in a fix as to how to go about it. Which options to go with?
You see, look.
That's a decision that needs to be made.
Ghanaians are God-fearing. So let me use a biblical explanation. Okay? There are only two people on this earth that we call my Lord. Supreme Court and court justices and the Lord who created this earth. They are called my Lord. In the olden days, when God from the Old Testament found out that there were chaos, he directly communicated to the people. You will know when Mount Sinai and all those things that you read in the Old Testament. Justice Doche coming out to say this, when I listened to it, I was so happy, and may God bless him. Reason being that he's brought clarity to the matter. Every person, you see, lawyers, unfortunately, we have two senior lawyers with us. They like confusing us, the citizenry. No, you see, lawyers, okay, so we have three lawyers. You know, the lawyers with their terminology and how they, because there is always two sides to a story.
course.
Well, some people say there's the facts as well.
Well, but then you see, the little research I have done is that justices before they give Supreme Court, before they give a judgment, go to what they call a conference.
Yes.
And in that conference, they sit and everybody now argues their case among themselves. Now they vote. And when they vote, the majority now writes their ruling, and the dissenting party also write their ruling. In this case, I'm told it's unanimous.
Yes, it was.
So unanimous means that Dr. Jote was in that room when it was discussed. The view of every justice in that room is that the NHIS card is unconstitutional.
That's right.
It should be removed from our electoral register. It means that if nobody went back to the Supreme Court, an election was held, that election, any vote that was cast by somebody with that registration is illegal. Yeah. We live in a country where a presidency was decided on 26,000 votes. Okay? Let's assume that we can delete 32,000 from the register. And an election, a president is elected on 26,000 votes. What now happens? So the man has saved us. He saved us lawyers filing writs. He saved us Armageddon. He saved us 6 months of watching Supreme Court hearing. He has saved us a lot. He has come and said that, look, unanimously, this is what the Supreme Court is saying. And we, who are not lawyers, understand what the man said clearly. So EC should not come and confuse us. As of today, anybody who sits on any platform to talk otherwise from what the Supreme Court has said, start off by saying, I am doing propaganda. Okay? Then Ghanaians will understand that you don't believe in what discerning Ghanaians believe. You just want to do propaganda. Because my sister, there is no ambiguity, like my brother said. The answer to your question is this. How do we now delete it? They are saying that. Delete. Okay? Give the people you have deleted an opportunity to re-register. If EC
so is that an automatic deletion?
Yes. It's automatic because basically it is, you see, Supreme Court rules, it becomes law. Yeah. If I'm on death row and Supreme Court says don't kill that person, nobody can kill me. If Supreme Court said kill Kojopoku, I'm dead. It's final. So why are we now debating my lord?
Exactly.
And my lord said that delete. So the issue of publish, let them come and justify. Look, delete it. What it means is that if you have deleted, okay, what EC should do, and I'm sure, you see, the funny thing is that the Miss Charlotte say I know, is not the one who is in power. You see, I'll say this. Sometimes it's said that to really know somebody, give the person power or give the person worth. Because the woman I know is not the woman who is EC chairman. She's somebody she's a lawyer. Yeah. She listens and she's God-fearing. I know that for a fact because I know her very well. But her behavior and the posture of the EC, like Honorable I don't know why ruling government is always on the side of EC. Why? The issue at stake is that delete it, find modalities, two things, find modalities in deleting, find modalities in making sure the people disenfranchised are re-registered.
Exactly. So that's why I was saying there are two schools. I mean, clearly, listening to discussion so far, there's this thing about the outright deletion and then allowing them to re-register. Yes. Or, like,
no, that's not all. That is...
You're talking about the modalities.
I have said that.
You're talking about the modalities.
Okay.
Because, I mean, if it wasn't for the modalities, then we'll go ahead and say we shouldn't have had this.
No. When you say the or, then you are now contradicting what the Supreme Court has said. Supreme Court said delete.
So why are we here?
Nobody has spoken. They said go and delete.
It
is the NDC people who started.
Yes, there's a deletion. You see, the minute you bring the
Mr. Chukwefio, please, just a minute.
Okay.
I totally get that, but I'm saying 3 weeks after the judgment, we are still here.
Because because they want to do propaganda.
Yes. Well, now, so that is why let me ask the question. So if it was that simple, we wouldn't be talking about it 3 weeks. So why are we still talking about it?
Some people don't want to do it.
So why are we talking about it? And that's where I'm going. That in the
past, my dear, in the past, Supreme Court has made a ruling. We are all confused because lawyers are the one interpreting and lawyers can say they exist. my Lord, Mount Sinai has happened. Okay? My Lord has come down from his high seat and said, this is what it means. From that day when Justice Doche made that statement, case closed. Anybody who is in doubt is no more in doubt. He said that the NHIS holders cannot be Ghanaian citizens or otherwise, because you can just be in the country and just get the card. So as far as we are concerned, it is unconstitutional. Delete it. How, you see, the modalities of how it's done, it's up to IPAC and EC. It's not up to me and you. What we are concerned with is that the law should be carried out to the letter. If the Supreme Court says go and kill Kojo Poku, they don't say firing squad or needle injection. They say kill him. How the prison services decide to kill him?
They do say.
Well, it's a different. But one point is that if they don't say and they say kill him,
class to how the state kills people.
Exactly. So exactly. So the point is that the issue of deleting and the modalities of how to get those people disenfranchised back should be a matter of urgency with EC, not the ambiguity in whether it should be deleted or not. Deletion there, somebody should go highlight and delete.
That and
simple.
Okay. Mr.
No, madam, you see the issue I want to raise.
Okay, I'll become Mr.
Haven't you heard the view after IPAC meeting that EC is saying that nobody has asked us to delete anybody who registered with NHI?
Yes.
That is the issue. It's not any modality. They said the government has to do that, so they won't do it.
Very well.
That is what it means to show disrespect and create confusion for yourself. They say go and delete. EC has not said so. Now we are talking about modalities here.
Mr. Chumesiapia, so Justice Doche's statement, does it clarify issues?
I want to agree with Mr. Ayukwe Otu that we have a constitution here and give all of us the right to speech and that of expression, even though I in principle disagree with that of speech. But be it as it may, that's what the constitution grants all of us. And I do not think that any group of persons or judges are exempt from that particular exercising their right under our constitutional provision, nor any group from the NDC perceived to be, what does he call them, apologies or non-apologies, or whether they are speaking from Mount Zion or Mount Sinai. Because the fact of the matter is that even quoting the Bible, you must understand that it was Mount Zion and Mount Sinai. I don't know which of them you refer to as propagandists in your whether those who were speaking on Mount Zion or
all instances the Lord spoke.
Say again?
My Lord spoke on both.
Yeah, but he spoke on different instances. So which of them were, because one was against the other. One was against the other. One was deliverance, one was about chaos and anarchy. So which of them were propagandists? So just the same way the judges and everybody has his right to express himself and to speech. I think whether you are NDC propagandist or NDC full soldier or what, you also have the right
to speak.
To speak. Now, the question here is the Justice Doche right? Maybe under the law, as we are being bombarded with several other laws here, he may be right. And then also because he was on the bench when some of these decisions were taken, so he may be the best person to come and tell us what exactly the decision was taken. But as whether I agree with him or not becomes another issue. And I think that I disagree with him. If I'm listening to the quotation that was expressly made by my friend at my left side here, I think I have had the opportunity and the privilege of being in Parliament for about 12 years. That 12 years, I've seen the passage of several of these CIs, pass in Parliament, including the infamous rule power and other things. I was in Parliament when most of these laws were passed. What do you mean by and Mr. Ayukwe, when we were talking, I was quiet. When we were talking, I was quiet. That is why I was quiet.
I moved it.
Yeah, and I will tell you something. We'll come to other subjects that I will also refer to you moving them. Hold on. You come to other subjects. We have a tour list, and I will refer you to most of the things that you have moved. And I hope that when I get there, you acknowledge that means that you moved them. And also accept responsibility under those acts too. Okay. So I disagree with him. If I listen to him very carefully when he quoted that aspect about the ruling, they talk about the fact that some of these rulings are to avoid chaos, anarchy, and blah, 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 blah. And my question is, to what extent, you understand? And you were talking about the fact that, they say you should delete. When Mr. Ayukwe Otu was speaking just about 5 minutes ago, one of the points that he made that I listened to me quite clearly was that magical, what did you use? That magical word or sentence, delete, was missing.
No, he said
What
it's
is
there.
NHIS.
It's missing. The NHIS is missing, but the word delete is clear.
Fantastic. So what extent would that deletion go to have this registration of minors, or if you like, so-called aliens from wherever they come
this
from?
Is in respect of the NHIS.
Say again?
Card holders.
Yes, that's the point I'm making. Yes. To what extent will he go to her? Because the very same person, and then he ended up by saying that they should be given an opportunity to register under the law. Under what law? What does that law say? And I'm surprised that my good friend here tells me.
He said the Constitution and any other applicable law. People usually avoid mentioning the Constitution and only mention the CIA.
When you were speaking, I did not. No, I did not. Yeah, I didn't direct to you.
It's okay.
I didn't direct any question to you. Under what law? What does the law say? And then we're also being told that they didn't give the judge for us to come and ask them what it means. Then why are you giving the judgment? Me, for the layman walking on the street, but I don't understand what it means. Then how do I even adhere to that particular law? And I don't think laws are meant
but
for
that order was directed at the EC.
Say again?
It's the EC.
Yes.
It was directed at the EC.
I started my statement by saying that you have the right to comment on every issue, freedom of speech. And just as you have the right to, your right to comment on those issues or to make that expression ends where my right begins. And I also have the right to make certain comments. So for anybody to say that, look, I am making that comment because I am apologist or I am propagandist or whatever, that's the point I'm making. That's the point I'm explaining. That I am making, say I disagree with him based on all these matters. That I think that the point of the one of contention was that people minus registered. That's what resurrected all this issue, and hence people going for this the abolition of this national health insurance and what have you. And then, so if you are telling me today that I register with national health insurance, you will give me another opportunity to go and register. What is the guarantee that I will not take my uncle and go back with the same thing and say that, look, my uncle will vouch for me, I'm ready to register again. So for me, I'm coming. So for me, I think it's a total and complete waste of time, energy, and our resources. And I think that it will even breed chaos and the anarchy that they intend to avoid. Because why? If the Electoral Commission today gets up and say that, look, yes, we've been asked to do this. We think in doing so, we will not have much time. We will not have much time to do so before the November, whatever it is, and that we are serving notice that election will be postponed for 1 year. What do you think will happen in this country? I am coming, especially so when you have a party which is who's referring or whatever it is all die be die. Vote for me, let me become president. When I don't become president, die for me. Do you understand? What do you think will happen? Because if you read the ruling,
just a minute, please.
Second,
I don't know what
that's the vote for me, let me become president. And if I don't become president, die for me. You understand? You are dying for me. When you have a party like this, in giving such religion, you become. And you talk about, I'm coming. You talk about, madam. When you were speaking, you didn't interrupt them.
But I want to ask you a question.
May I lose my line? And you talk about Mount Sinai. I don't think you are here telling us that the Lord made a mistake. Supreme Court judges somewhere along the line have always made mistakes in some jurisdictions. I'll give you a specific example of the Mary Surratt versus the conspiracy case against Mary Surratt, the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. Why? The woman was condemned and sentenced to death. She was killed only for them to come out and say that her trial was illegal.
Mr. Chimisapia, respectfully, at this point, I have to come in because you're making certain statements. This is an order by the Supreme Court, and it's not here.
He is saying my Lord has spoken, and I'm saying and I'm giving him example that I'm giving an example as to how we think that some judges may go wrong, even though they've given a ruling. And I'm giving a specific example that judges have given ruling, people have been sentenced, they have been executed. We are not disrespecting. I'm making the point. I am making the point. Nobody is disrespecting this. So I am saying that reading from their own judgment, saying what my colleague here has said, that it is to forestall this future occurrences of people, what do you call it? Is to eliminate chaos, anarchy, and what have you. And I'm saying to what extent are these things? Because if you talk about national health insurance, for instance, like I said earlier, you've deleted the names. Fine. You only delete today. Tomorrow I reappear there. You say that's fine. But that being fine for me, I don't think it is fine because this nation needs resources to do so many other things. We need time for so many other things. So the Electoral Commission comes and come and say that we are extending the elections for 1 year. You may agree. You say it is fine. I sitting here may not agree. Because I will say it's not fine with me. Why 1 year? You understand?
Okay.
Why 1 year?
Very well. Now,
Mr.
Yes, react to him. He's saying that it's an exercise in futility and all of that.
But when they were speaking, I didn't want to react to anything. So if you may allow me to finish. I have not finished.
Okay. Please go ahead, Mr. Chimisapia. I thought you had landed, but please go ahead.
No, let him go. I mean, if you do that, I have jotted my points that I'm making there.
Please go ahead.
Please, let them speak. I'll come back. I'll come back. Let them speak.
Madam,
I may also have the opportunity.
Okay.
It is this kind of misconception that I shudder to think of any time they are the first to speak. What we are looking at is Article 42 of the Constitution. Only citizens of Ghana, 18 years and above, and of sound mind can register. How do you prove that you are a citizen and you go and take an NHIS card and you are being told that that is not sufficient? So what you have done is contrary to or inconsistent with Article 42, and therefore they tell you go and delete. He's telling me it's a waste of time. It means you have not understood the issues why they went to court.
How will you expect me, what will you expect me to take to the EC as a proof of my citizenship? Somebody mentioned national health insurance, national identification card. We all know the processes that they go through in collecting some of this information. We also know that even at the time that we were talking about this species matter at the Supreme Court, at that time, there were problems with national identification cards. Indeed, there were speculations that people, they were not being funded because some group of persons or some people were against the operations in the first place. And at the time, I remember everybody in Parliament when we summoned them to come and give some kind of updates on this thing. At that, as far back as 2012, they had already said they had already captured about 42% of the population. So assuming that this is what we are going to use to register, we have all agreed on national identification card. Are we not going to disenfranchise the remaining 58% of our people? That is the question. Now, and even what makes you think just by me holding national identification card makes me a Ghanaian? I'm coming. Then we spoke about passport. Not long ago, during the same period, somebody was arrested in London, I think that's on suspicion of act of terrorism, who was holding a Ghanaian passport. Quickly we went and we're saying that, let's investigate. We came back to come and say he was not a Ghanaian. You understand? What if such a person had come with a passport that I'm a Ghanaian, I'm registering to vote, probably under the road power, or even has traveled to Ghana to come out? Will we have said that he's not a Ghanaian? So if you take it from every angle, that's what I think I supported IPAD when they said that. The other registering the Ghanaian under Article 42 of the Constitution or all the other CIs that we have, as being true Ghanaian and of age or people who are qualified would depend by and large on ourselves, our own, ability to be like you said, to God-fearing, tell the truth, and ensure that the right people register. That will depend on ourselves. But to rely on some of these laws that we are going to delete all national health insurance card holders from it, only for them to go back. We spend, let's say, 1 month, pay staff to go and do it. They delete them. Only for us to go back and then find the same names, because I come with my uncle, even my name was deleted, say them. I mean, what do we gain from wasting our time, our resources, and energy? But that's what I'm talking about. What if this Ghanaian, like I'm saying, now somebody comes with national identification card, and I was in Parliament, I saw people who were registering in the foyer of Parliament, who have even challenged that they were not Ghanaians, and yet they are holding national identification card. They come and say, I know MPs who say, use my house address. They just came to visit member of Parliament. The problem doesn't even know them. I want to register. I don't want the opportunity. Use my house address. If this person is going to vote and I say he's not a Ghanaian, what do you think will happen there? So the point I'm making is that it behold on all of us to say that, look, if I know Mr. B not to be a Ghanaian, ask whether he's holding national health insurance card, Ghanaian passport, whatever it is, will ensure that he doesn't register, let alone give the opportunity to vote. That for us, for me, I think that's what IPAD decision was, and I support that. Now, the decision that the justices have taken. You spoke at length, and I didn't have to ask you whether we have to go. No, I didn't. He said I wanted to make a point.
So now.
Yes, I'll be landing now.
Yes,
so I believe that most of this, the ruling that they gave, does not solve the problem of minors voting, does not solve the problem of non-indigenous, or what do you call them, non-citizens voting. It doesn't solve any of the underlying problems that this is stated.
So they should be disobeyed.
Okay.
I'm not saying.
Can I ask two simple questions? Do we live in a perfect world? No, we don't. Does the rule of law cures all problems? No, it doesn't. Me and you, there are a lot of things in this country we do not agree with. But guess what? We wake up every morning and obey them. You see, society is such that it's an imperfect world that we live in. the fact I agree that your right to exercise an opinion is that you disagree. We all appreciate that. But please, let's not channel that disagreement to the fact that it's a waste of time.
No one is telling the EC to implement the decision.
But you are saying that the decision is a waste of time. No. Yes,
I am saying that for me it's a waste of time and resources. Period. I haven't ordered the EC
to implement it. But you agree with the judgment. You don't agree with the judgment.
Yes, I don't.
Thank you.
And I have the right to disagree with the judgment. Yes, simple as that.
We appreciate that.
You disobey it.
I have not disobeyed it.
No, please
should they disobey it?
I haven't said they should disobey it.
Okay, but you said that the iPad decision.
I agree with it.
No, Mr.
Chimesiapia.
Sorry?
Please, you've landed. Let them react.
He's asking me a question.
No, I honestly feel that when the Supreme Court makes a ruling, there are so many rulings that are made by the Supreme Court that other parties are aggrieved and not happy. But guess what? It is implemented to the letter. It becomes law.
That's all.
You understand? It's simple and period, like the judges said. So yes, we agree, you disagree. But to say that you agree, see, IPAC is an extension of EC.
I should not say I agree with IPAC.
No, I shouldn't say that. But IPAC is an extension of.
So I shouldn't say I agree with them.
No,
we're not saying you. We're not saying you.
Sir,
I'm not saying you. I'm saying that IPAC is an extension of EC. Okay? So if IPAC says that they do not agree or they will not implement, then it means that they are challenging the position of the EC, which is against the law of the land. You see, we don't live in a perfect world. So all the things you've said is true. Somebody might go off with the NHIS card and come in by an uncle vouching for him. Yes, it's an imperfect world. We accept that. But please, let's do what the law says we should do. Implement it and let's move on.
Please, we need to take a break here, but before then, I'll read some messages that are coming in. We need to bring the audience in as well. Yes, we'll come back to continue. Now, if anybody will cause confusion this election year, it is these Supreme Court justices. Since they are good in giving orders, they must be equally good in providing the technology to clean the register. It is 6 months to the elections. This is Kweku from La Paz. Now, I know a man who used the NHIS card. Is the EC going to call him to bring another ID card to register? It's sad listening to the panelists. Opoku, where has the EC confused us and how you allowed him to personalize the EC chair? It's pathetic. This is comments from Kofi in Tema. For Christ's sake and peace, let the IPAC go to the Supreme Court for further explanation and possibly straighting. I'm not getting this. Silas Owusu Secher from Kumasi says, really? So we don't understand delete, or are we exercising naivety or hypocrisy? Sometimes I wish we are still beneath the white folks. Good morning. Abna, good morning. The question I want to ask is, if you have a wrong number on your phone, how do you delete it? So if EC doesn't know how to delete those names, then she is not qualified to be there as EC chair. She should better resign. This is Ibrahim from Kumasi. Kofi and Tema is saying, what has Charlotte Osei done to people to always attack her? Always sad to listen to Mr. Opoku. Something, well. This is New Day Saturday edition coming to you from studios of TV3 in Accra. We're also live on 3FM 92.7 and streaming live on the internet at www.tv3network.com. We'll be carrying on with the conversation around the Supreme Court judgment in the Abu Ramadan case. But before then, Mr. Kojopoku, you wanted to
react to? I wanted to clarify, there was a couple of the comments that came and said I attacked Mrs. Charlotte Osei. I did not. All I said was that the Mrs. Charlotte Osei I know is God-fearing and listens, and she's a lawyer. So the posture that is taken by the EC, which she chairs, is a bit confusing to me because sometimes you only know somebody when she's in a position of power. And the posture of the EC, to me, I think she will do the right thing. That is what I said.
Yes,
exactly.
Sure. So carrying on, Mr. Chimesiapia raised a number of issues that suggesting basically that the judgment, yes, the court has made the judgment, but that there are certain disagreements, bordering on the fact that so there are disagreements, so how do we implement it, or do we even implement it? I mean, those are comments I would want Mr. Opon and Mr. Maiko to touch on, because these are legal issues he's raising, and I would really want you to address those issues.
As I said earlier on, I mean, the court
why should it be only two of them to?
No, because I'm addressing it to them based on their capacity.
It's arising from what you said. It's arising from what you said.
I'm not a lawyer, but I made laws.
It's arising from what you said.
Mr. Opon, please go ahead. Yes.
As I said earlier on, the court has insisted time and time again that if you think that a Supreme Court judgment or a court judgment is even erroneous, it cannot be implemented. It is not for you to determine that. And the case I referred to earlier, he said the wholehearted, he said, the fact that an order of or process from a court of competent jurisdiction is perceived and considered void or erroneous should not give a party who is affected by the order or to whom the process is directed the slightest encouragement to disobey it. And when cited for contempt, only to turn around to justify the said disobedience by the fact that the order ought not to have been made or the process issued in the first place. The proper thing to do is to either obey or sue for a declaration to that effect or apply to have it set aside. And therefore, it says that it is not for lawyers, the litigants, to determine which court orders they should obey. And as a matter of public policy, it is important that the authority of the court and the sanctity of its process and orders be maintained at all times. And it is too dangerous to give to a litigant and his counsel the right to decide which orders of the court they should obey. So it is very clear. If this order was not directed to the so-called ordinary Ghanaian, whom we hide and perceive as if somebody who has no idea of what is right, these laws were made by the ordinary Ghanaian. Justice emanates from the people, as Senior said. But it's only exercised by a few people appointed by these same ordinary Ghanaians. When Parliament makes laws, those laws were made in the name of the so-called ordinary Ghanaian. That's why ignorance of the law is not an excuse. So let's not perceive the so-called ordinary Ghanaian as somebody who is not discerning, doesn't have the slightest idea of what is right and wrong, what is legal, what is lawful and what is not unlawful, what is constitutional and what is not constitutional. I think we have demeaned the so-called ordinary Ghanaian for too long. The Supreme Court has made a clear order. Even if there were parts of the judgment that people, just for their convenience, conjured some incongruity or confusion, the orders, they were very clear enough. And in law, when they were going to maybe lift the orders for what we call entry of judgment, it is the orders you are going to put down as directed. So what is confusing? What is irregular about these orders? Comply with it. It's as the question I asked, what injury will be caused the EC if they comply with just this order and give the opportunity to these people who are affected or who will be affected to prove their eligibility and register again? As it stands now, there is true Supreme Court decision concurring that the register as it is now is not reasonably accurate and credible. Are you going to hold election based on this? And indeed, it is not for even the person who found his name or managed to have his name there, and that's inconsistent with the law. It is for the EC even before this case went to court. That duty is imposed on them by the Constitution. It is not for even me who goes to steal and goes to the court and say, or to Attorney General or the police and say, I have stolen, so please process me for court. Nobody does that. And that is why there are rules and regulations. That is why we appoint people, give them public money, taxes, to maintain themselves so that they should check the illegalities of people. He mentioned that, oh, what is the guarantee that people will do the right thing? If you know you are not a Ghanaian, you go and see somebody's uncle or so to guarantee for you have committed an offense. If those people he said he saw at the forecourt of Parliament and whom he could have challenged because they were not Ghanaians, you have a duty as a citizen of Ghana. When you see or even have a reasonable suspicion that a person is committing or about to commit an offense, report the matter to the police. It is your duty. And not to do that itself is an offense. So if you know you are not a Ghanaian and you go and get someone, the person who guaranteed for you has committed an offense, you yourself has committed an offense on your conscience, whether you are caught or not. So that shouldn't be a justification. That the fact that we cannot get a perfect register means that then we should just allow things to be. No. The order is clear. Either you comply with it, and I think that all citizens of Ghana are interested, and we should ensure that these particular orders or these orders are complied with to the letter.
Very well. Mr. Aikwotu, On this issue, moving forward, the EC, what to do?
may
Please, I'll come to you later, Mr. Tuguri, respond, yes.
Well, you see, I believe that when judgments are given, it's only fair that you try to understand the judgment before you implement it. Now, those who comment, that is my fear, is that sometimes they don't even bother to understand what is there. And they just mix up the issues. These issues were very, very clear. We have not gone to talk about other modes of proving your Ghanaianness, if you like. The only one which came out was the use of NHIS. All the issues that is raising are diversionary. Whether anybody who produces a national ID card can say that is really a Ghanaian is another matter. If you want to challenge that, you can do that. But an issue went to court, the court has decided on that issue and given clear directions. How do you say you disagree also, and therefore you don't want to implement it? As we said off air, when the Supreme Court in America decided that there shall be same-sex marriages, a lady refused to grant a license for the marriage to be consummated, the person was jailed. All it means is that you show a disrespect to the court, you are likely to be jailed. So they should stop this thing of disagreeing and whatever. If the directions are clear, follow the directions. I have said that I will not have a problem if EC is saying, oh, we have ways of deleting and we are going to follow those processes for the deletion. Fine. But to come and tell me Supreme Court has not ordered me to delete, that one day I cannot understand it. I mean, why? When the words were clearly used, delete or to use your usual balance, clean. And you still say you don't understand. What is there to understand about it? And therefore, please, let those NDC apologies leave the EC alone. They should allow the ECs to think and come to terms with issues that they are confronted with. They are not an extension of the EC. It's only unfortunate that EC itself, in their own, internal arrangements, now they are telling, we don't even know who speaks for them anymore. There used to be somebody who was always on there speaking for them, Owusu Pari. Now they say it's something, director of administration. So who is to speak for them? I don't know whether by extension or by inference, NDC has decided to fill that vacancy by now becoming spokespersons. You see? So please, there is no issue. The directions were clear. They just should go follow it and let's have our peace. That's all.
I don't think if there were not to be issue, you'll be sitting here talking. And for God's sake, you don't also represent or to speak for the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, you just gave us a typical example in the United States where somebody refused to issue license and the person was jailed. The Supreme Court can speak for themselves. They can take action for themselves and by themselves. So don't also speak for the Supreme Court. Don't tell Ghanaians that Supreme Court has issued an order and that we should comply. Let the Supreme Court say so. So go file them. If you have to file them, go file them. Otherwise, let the Supreme Court act for themselves. Okay, so do not say that because somebody is saying that he disagrees with that judgment, he speaks for the EC. And then when you also agree with them, then you don't speak for the Supreme Court. They are mature enough, they know what they are doing, they know the remedy under their own action, under the judgment that I have given. They can take their own action themselves. Why do you sit here? If there's nothing to speak about, if it's a matter of ordering the EC to go clean up and they should clean up, then why are we sitting here discussing the matter? Who created what? I am saying that I have the right to disagree. Under the law. You also have the right to agree. But do not order anybody to say that, look, somebody is an apologist, and for them, he has no right to talk. But when you talk, he speaks for the EC. But when you speak, you don't speak for the Supreme Court. They are a bit more matured, maybe more than you, to take their own decisions and implement their own decisions. So if you are calling people apologists, then you should also look at yourself. That's the fair point. You are running into confusion. And I will refer to the case that you made, that you referred to. And when he appeared before them, he went to beg. Then you knew that they have the powers to determine their own action to take under that particular case that you went to beg for. So you want so that if they believe that someone has ignored their order, I think they know what to do. So you don't sit here and talk. So if you think that the matter is so simple and that there's nothing to talk about, I don't think we should have been wasting our time, just like we expect the issue to do, sitting here and discussing the issue in the first place.
But you have created an issue for discussion.
I have disagreed with that issue. If you want to go and continue discussing it in your bedroom, that's your issue. That is your piece of cake.
Please allow him to.
That's your piece of cake.
Like I said, my brother made it very clear. He's saying that in his personal opinion, he disagrees, but he has nothing against it being implemented because it's the law of the land. And like I said earlier, anybody who wants to sit on any media platform and comment on this should say that my personal opinion is that I disagree, but at the end of it, please say that it should be implemented, because as we speak now, it is because it is the law of the land.
That's not exactly what he said. That's why he's challenging.
Well, that's fine.
The last bit.
Well, okay, so what I'm saying is that my point is that anybody who wants to, okay, if you disagree,
I disagree.
You disagree, but it's the law of the land. So say I disagree, but it's the law of the land. So it should be decided. No, I'm just saying you, but I'm saying that if anybody wants to, okay, that's fine. Well, that's fine. I'm just advising that it's the law of the land. The law of the land is that NHI, the NHIS registration existence in our current electoral roll makes it illegal. Period. So what do we do about it? So the law of the land says that remove it. How the modalities of removing it, it's like I said, it's up to EC to come up with. So I think it's clear and we can move on.
Very well. Let me take some messages here. Somebody's saying the EC, through their lawyers, said they know those who registered with NHIS cards, so deleting shouldn't be a problem. Mr. Appiah is diverting the main issue and indulging in pure propaganda. This is IB. It says the ruling is clear and simple. He's rather propagating confusion and chaos ahead of the election. The EC is now as confused as the government and the NDC man sitting there. How can delete or clean undesirable names from the register be ambiguous? If a public institution like the EC is confused as to how to carry out the Supreme Court's order, then they may as well vacate their position. Again, the NDC is making it look as if those undesirable names are there to serve their purpose. Abna, Dr. Mohammed, Dr. Baumias made clear that the NDC people don't read. I'm not a lawyer, but I can understand the judgments made by the Supreme Court. I just like Lawyer Opon. I have been listening to him and wish he would lead me to law school. This is Mark from Tamale.
Come to my school.
Tony from Shama says, if the NHIS card holders in the register do not favor any political party, why are we wasting time debating the Supreme Court decision? Please, Abna, I believe we as Ghanaians need to go through war for a year or two after we'll no, I don't think war is the way to go.
I agree with the
Abna, please, I believe the host. Well, let me see. This says Abna, this NDC man thinks they can let the EC rig the election for them again. They lie. They know the kind of names that they put into the register. That is why they don't want the register to be cleaned. You can't rig this election again. This is Aliu from Bully and Wa. Another one says, Abna, the EC headed by Mrs. Osei, per her action and inaction, are bent to give favoritism to the NDC ahead of the 2016 elections from the look of things. But this time round, their machinations will not fly because the ordinary Ghanaian is yearning for a change in their plight. This is Seth from Hohoi. Michael Amenin in the UK is saying, how is it going to be possible for the EC to delete completely all the names of people who registered with the NHIA cards to vote during the 2012 elections through the exhibition process? Because the exhibition process is not compulsory, foreigners who registered with the NHIA cards will not turn up during the process. And because the EC says they don't have power to remove names of unqualified people from the register, then it means that the EC can't implement fully the orders of the Supreme Court. The only option is for the EC to compile a new register for the November 7th elections for it to be credible. If Justice Doche wanted to clarify, no, this isn't clear, I can't see that. Good morning, Abna. Honorable Appiah is too much. I wish he is the MP at Woolensey constituency, but MP for Woolensey constituency, who is NDC MP, would surely lose the elections come November 7th. I mean, why do you say this about your MP? Please, Abna, can you imagine? Please, Abna, ask your panel, are they going to delete minus deceased and NHIS persons? What process are they going to use to delete? Oh, no, this message is not complete. I can't see that. let's see. Abna, Dr. Mohammed Baumia, no, this is a repeated message. So, well, I think we can be moving on now to the next topic. Again, let me remind you, we're coming to you live from the studios of TV3 in Accra, also live on 3FM 92.7 and on the internet at www.tv3network.com. We'll be moving on to our next topic, which is a total shutdown on social media. This is what the IGP is considering on election day. It has caused a number of comments or debates already as in why we would do this, given the potential for social media to actually facilitate communication and interaction on election day, or perhaps before, during, and after election day. So this is where we are at now. We are looking at this issue. I'll start with you, Mr. Chumesi, Honorable Chumesi Apia. The IGP's consideration, well, it's just a proposal.
I think in your preamble you spoke about, was it Uganda and other
Uganda,
countries?
Congo,
and
yes.
I strongly believe that given the laws, existing laws that we have today, that give powers to the President and the National Communication Authority to for lack of a better word, pull out the plugs on some of this the social media network, and that if they perceive that as we see here today, these are part of the election issues are part of our threats and our potential threats, and they will have to do so to forestall any occurrence of chaos and anarchy. I think they have every right, as was ably promulgated by my good friend, the Ayukwe Otu, and then signed into law by President Kufuor. He has given them those powers to do so. And we are all talking about law here since we started. And the law allows them to do so. I mean, who are we to say no? I think they should go ahead and do it if they so believe it.
Okay, now Mr. Opon.
Oh, well, I've been trying to understand what is meant by social media. Does it include what we are doing now?
Well, it depends on the platform this will be put on. So if it's...
Yeah, so it's even
Facebook,
ambiguous. Then do I take it that we are going to shut down TV stations, radio stations, or just internet and internet-related sources of information? So they should even clarify. But I think that clearly the lawyers will say, quo warranto. By which powers are you acting?
Doing this?
Or are you doing this? By which authority? He mentioned the National Communication Act, the NMC, and so on. The Constitution clearly guarantees freedom of communication. Article 18, no person shall be subjected to interference with the privacy of his own property, communication, correspondence, except in accordance with law and as may be necessary in a free and democratic society, and so on. I would like to know which law gives the IGP such powers. Of course, he can consider, and I like the way it was put. But I have not come across any law that permits him to cause any sources of information to be shut down, whether for 1 minute or for an hour or 2 days or a day. And so I think that already we had been through what has been referred to as culture of silence. It is better rather for us to get the opportunity to talk freely, of course, within the parameters of the law, I know. But just to say that because you see, a pen can be a weapon to cause damage. It can also be used to do what is right. So just because somebody has used a pen to kill another person or a knife to kill another person, you say from now on, nobody should be allowed to use knife or to be seen with a knife even in his kitchen or her kitchen. Oh, there are modalities elsewhere. They have facilities that can even block such unhealthy communication, and not to shut down the entire system. And you see, sometimes when we want to compare ourselves to, and I just even shudder to describe the countries that have been used as examples for us to follow. We know what has happened in these countries. Why are we not comparing ourselves to, let's say, America or UK, and even wanting to do better than them?
On the basis of comparison, let me bring this in. You know, Nigeria also did that, and I mean, looking at our preparations towards elections, we've been making references to Nigeria, the Nigerian example, using professionals to even help with collation and all.
Yeah.
So if we're willing to emulate those, I mean, some of the practices, why can't we emulate the same thing Nigeria did, for instance?
Yes, so yes, but does it mean that everything then must be followed? In any case, which of what they have done have we even adopted? We have blatantly even refused to adopt what we all agree on the face of it to be the good practices, international best practices. What I'm saying is that even when we are comparing ourselves to the so-called the democratic societies, we should aim at doing better than them. We have been through a process by the grace of course, I have insisted all the time that the unwholesome information and language on some of these social media platforms, even the National Communication Authority should really act. We should hold responsible owners of some of these sources of information on social media. Because when you go there, you get academics, intellectuals, just exchanging language that even the so-called uneducated will not use. And it's a worry to me, yes, but that is, I don't think the remedy is to shut it down only for the next day or so to be open and what? We are at the same place. First, there is a duty on us as citizens to be aware that we will not achieve any, there will be no useful purpose where we peddle falsehood about people and ourselves. And I say that first, we were not, those who originated some of these things were not necessarily Ghanaians. They still use it to pursue research for us to get better services. Here, a lot of people use it for scandals and things that will not aid us in our development agenda. I agree. But just to repeat, I don't think that, in my view, I will support anyone who will call for a complete shutdown just for 2 days or so, and only after the election. The National Communication Authority has a duty, and we as citizens, Dr. Yini did it recently. I think the case is still pending. People are hiding behind some of these social media to malign and maliciously peddle falsehood about others. They think they can hide. When that case is heard finally, I will be very happy that if by the grace of God he wins that case, it will be a very good starting point where people will be very much careful. You sue them for heavy compensation even if you can't recover it. That would be deterrent enough. But I think that let people still get this opportunity open to them. It is for the National Communication Authority to install the appropriate facilities to ensure that, even with media houses like where we are now, elsewhere, the words you say, the system has determined what is not wholesome. And it will not even go out. Text messages are sent. Apart from the fact that those who are receiving it also have a duty to sieve them, there are facilities that will automatically even cut it off and you won't even receive it. These are all facilities available. And so please, let's rather find these. But a total shutdown, for me, seriously, is only at the consideration stage. I would have wished that it doesn't materialize, because what we will lose may outweigh what we had intended to gain.
Very well. Mr. Ikweotu, so yes, like Mr. Loriapo is saying here, this is at the consideration stage, but we need to talk about it before to ensure that the right considerations are made before a decision is taken. Your take on this?
Okay, let me say that I agree largely with him, but I see appearances on TV and other radio discussion programs as an opportunity to educate the people. And therefore, sometimes we want to be as objective as possible. He's said both sides do, but if you look at Article 21 also, you find that all persons shall have the right to freedom of speech and expression, which shall include freedom of the press and other media. So, well, if you talk of social media, maybe qualify as other media, then you say that they have that freedom, to exist. Now, the problem is where people are playing mischief, with that opportunity given them. I remember when FM studios came up for the first time, there was a directive that they should not even carry news items. You remember in those days that they can't trust the nature of the news they will be giving. But later, Joy and the rest came up and they were doing well. I think at the end of the day, you know. So there is some kind of mischief in our primaries. You know, sometimes the results that are published, that, well, this man has won by a large margin, so and so. At the end of the day, when the final results come and you tally them, say, where did this person get this information from? It's far from, you know, the reality. So there is something in there which one should have to look at. Can you imagine a situation where somebody just says that EC has published the results and MPP has won the election? So MPP people just pour onto the streets and start shouting. The EC can say, oh, we are now going to declare the results. And it was not MPP who actually won. I'm only giving you an example. Yeah. You can imagine some of these problems that can, you know, arise. So there must be some kind of balancing act. How do we deal with, you know, declaration of results? You know, even with the various media, I think the idea has been that publish what we call provisional results. Never say that this is the final result, but just publish provisional results. Then when the EC declares, you can say that this is the confirmed results for Kruwa. This is the confirmed, you know. But do not go ahead and say you have the results from here or there. They all remain provisional. So that may be a way to go. That, look, if anybody has said something, wants to put it on social media, just say it is provisional, subject to confirmation by the EC. But if we are not careful, we may have a situation, you know, where people can really create a mess with this. You know, somebody just decides this man has won, that man has lost. You know, I know of contestants who are called and congratulated that they have won because somebody said so, only for the EC to come and say, didn't win. In fact, he was not the one who actually won at all, you know, and things like that. So it's a balancing act that we may have to look at. After all, we've gone through elections from '92 till now. Of course, social media has become more, you know, widespread in modern times because of penetration. Because more and more people can now afford, you know, mobile phones. So maybe more and more people are getting involved. So to me, it's still a 50-50 chance that we've got to look at it well, you know, to see, to balance it and build, if you like, on the experiences that we have had so far from 1992, and to say, for example, that yes, you want to inform somebody about something that has happened, say it is provisional, pending confirmation, and don't go out there, just publish it and create the impression that that's the end of the matter, when indeed it is not, because we are still, after all these things that happen in America, you know, where CNN and the rest say they are calling elections subject to confirmation. But they've done the, you know, what do you call it, the sampling. And those who are coming out appear to be, you know, voting for, you know, Trump. And therefore, Trump is going to win. So we are calling for, he has never said that he is giving the final results. But he's saying, we'll call this election because looking at the exit polls, it is clear that the man is winning, because everybody who comes out and you ask him, where did you vote? They say Trump. So if no other name is coming up, the man will win. You understand? And sometimes their predictions come true, 94% and things like that. You know, so let's look at that maybe to be a better way to go than completely, because you may be in Accra very, very anxious to know what is happening in Avrongo or Wa. You know, and your friend in work can get, hey, Charlie, the results are good for us. You know, we've won here, we've won that, you know. And it's a good idea, you know, it gives you a good feeling. At the same time, they don't have the right to be feeding us with lies, you know, fabricated results. That shouldn't be allowed. So please, my take is that let them do it if they want to do it, but they always put in a caveat that these are provisional results yet to be confirmed. If it is already confirmed, then say so, that EC has actually announced the results for Wa Central, and this man has won. It's okay, you know.
Very well. Mr. Kujupoku.
Yes.
So, Mr. Ayiko has mentioned this thing about how to declare election results provisional. But indeed, there are the negative sides to the use of social media. In recent times, we've seen certain documents being doctored, put on social media as coming from certain sources. They look very credible. How could we think creatively in a way that would help us address such issues? Because clearly we don't want to throw the baby away with the bad water.
Yeah, definitely.
With the bad water, we don't want to.
Basically, let me start with the origination. Yesterday, I happened to be on a platform that one of the superintendents called in and explained. Apparently, it was a journalist in IGP meet the press, or in one of his presentation. A journalist asked the IGP that this is happening on social media, and it has a tendency to create chaos and all sorts of things on election and during the election day. What is the police doing about it? And the IGP said one of the consideration could be blocking social media on election day. Okay, and I think on that same platform, the presenter asked the superintendent, what are you referring to as social media? And he mentioned Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp, and quite a lot of them. But my question is this: you want to block, if in case it happens, on election day is not even the problem, because what happens on election day, we only vote on election day. The actual mischief or whatever dissemination happens is on the following day. Okay, so election day, everybody goes to vote. It's at night. You know, nobody sleeps after voting. The night that everybody is trying to get, people are sitting next to radio and tallying what I don't know. You understand? So what you are, yeah, but they are telling poll station to poll stations, and along the line they give up. You know,
That's being vigilant.
You understand? So the point is this: I think that the police has a unit called the cybercrime unit. It's well resourced. Okay, the cybercrime unit should be more resourced, though they are resourced now. They have the software, and the guys there can tell anything that goes on WhatsApp. They can tell which number it originated from. The cybercrime unit has a software. Anything that goes on the social media, Twitter or whatever, they can tell where it originated from. Because you see, anything you put up on WhatsApp is from a phone number. Everything you put on Twitter or what is from an IP address or also from a phone number. So they have the software, and they can check some of these things. Remember an infamous video that came around of a former minister's son and whatever, and that video was blocked on social media. Okay, so the capability to block certain items on social media exists. So if we are looking at monitoring of those things, the cybercrime unit has the resource to do those things. Secondly, the police is supposed to arrest and prosecute. If somebody sends out a mischief on social media and it creates a problem and we can prosecute them, we should set examples by arresting them and prosecuting them. It would deter, it will serve as a deterrent. One of the things we don't have in Ghana is deterrent. And we have spared the rod so much that all the cases are spoiled. Nobody. You understand? Because the police, if most people don't even believe that capability exists, that if you send something on social media, the police can tell where it came from. No, people think that, oh, you can do it and nobody will know because it's a World Wide Web. No, it's not. IP address and phone numbers are sources that everybody can pinpoint and tell you that it came from this device or this computer. So we should all be careful of how we disseminate. And I think the deterrent, it's a crazy world out there. People do their business on social media. A lot of things happens on social media. So blocking it even for 5 minutes becomes a problem. We all sitting here, every 5 minutes we are on our phone doing one thing or the other. You enter a room and your data network doesn't work. You become apprehensive. Okay? So what happens on social media, Instagram, people's business are on Instagram, people's business are on Twitter, people's business are on Facebook. So you cannot afford to do that on a day. What I will recommend is that the police should let the populace know that there are procedures in prosecuting and jail sentences for those things if you do it. And if you say something falsehood also about something, there are libelous consequences in some of these things. That will serve as a deterrent in those areas. But to say that it's a massive task to try and block social media. And the day you are blocking it on the wrong day.
But yes, Mr. Shimishia.
Yes, I don't understand the point my friend is making. But I was thinking that Mr. Ayiko too, also this time whether he was also begging or speaking to the law. The law he promulgated, that President Kufuor assented, give the president
you
the
understand
powers.
something I said? At least if
No,
you can
let me
say that so that I can.
Yeah,
I
you
can
say the
respond.
police can arrest and then prosecute. Under what law?
Oh, the cybercrime
Tell
law.
me which
cybercrime law.
When? Past when? Tell me which one.
My brother, the cybercrime units. The cybercrime units.
Yeah, do they have laws?
Yes.
Which
the
are, what law?
That is easily verifiable.
The
We could do that and
cybercrime
let you
unit
know.
is
Yes.
established.
We'll do that.
If you send falsehood on WhatsApp, because I happen to go there as a result of an arrest of a relative who somebody went there and said that he has sent something on a group WhatsApp and he feels that it has caused and he went there and the cybercrime unit charged him and they're going to take him to court. The law is there, my brother. I don't know the law, but what I'm saying is that
let me move on.
Yes.
So the president has powers under Section 100 of a law called the Electronic Communication Act that my good friend here promulgated and then got assented by President Kufuor. That the president has the power, like I said, pull up the plug. You know, if I may quote the law as it is, that's Section 100, powers of the president under the Electronic Communication Act. You say, the president may, by executive instrument, make written requests and issue orders to operators or providers of electronic communication network. And you go, or services requiring them to intercept communications, provide any user information, or otherwise to aid law enforcement of national security. So you can just pull the plug. So if you're speaking to the law, that the people have the right to do certain things. If you believe, if it's briefed by the executive committee or what we call the Grand Strategic Group, that they believe that given other experience or intelligence they are picking up shows that there's likelihood of somebody using social media, or what you call, what I would refer to as electronic communication, that is radio, television, anything that comes under electronic communication, to cause mayhem. The president has the right, through executive instrument, to pull up the flaws. Now, the police may not have that right as an IGP, but he may be taking his powers from the president. The president so orders him, just as you said, you have a cybercrime unit to do so. He can also do so, irrespective of whether you have your business on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. He believes, because no business cannot supersede national interest. And your business cannot supersede, I don't know how much money that you think the nation can generate even in a year that can pay for the lives of maybe even 3 people. Do you understand? So that if the nation so believes, and then the NCA itself, under the same act, I think it's Section 94 of the act, also gives them the powers, to pull up the plugs. Say TV3, for instance, you're not doing well according to this, and then pull up the plugs. But unfortunately, what the NCA, the point I think somebody else made is that they don't have any power to examine content. I've been a chairman of the Select Committee on Communication for, I think, 4 years. They don't have the power to examine content. And this cybercrime thing, maybe now they are past it. But when I was the chairman of the committee, we had just begun, putting some of these laws together. We had just begun.
I don't think we finished.
Yes, we had begun. I am Honorable Damboche want to Cote d'Ivoire, the African Sub-Region as a working group to work on that. That's why I'm asking you. And these issues have been raised on several international forums. You talk about somebody putting something up. I have signed a contract with Facebook in America. I sit here and operate, but I'm operating in America. And put somebody's picture or put a material on it. Facebook has authorized me that any material I see on my webpage, I can use it or my own tool can be used by anybody. That is the agreement I have with Facebook. So if I use it, who is the police going to charge? For Facebook allowing me to use their platform of Facebook or the contract that I have with Facebook.
No, I think what we're talking about, the police is coming in here to inhibit the negativity.
Yeah, if they can block it before it comes, fine. But that's been the same thing. The same blockade that IDP talk about, that's the same thing. So I don't know where the problem is now. If the police want to do selective justice, pick and choose and block anyone they want, then IDP says that we may block. I don't think there's any problem. Because the same blockage that we're talking about. And they have the power. You have said that they have a unit that can do that. And they have the unit can, are they justified by under the law to do that? Yes, I think so. If the president asks them to do it, they can do it under the president power under the Act 775. And even at 769, they also have powers that my good friend once again promulgated and brought to Parliament, giving the president all these powers. I thought you were going to speak to that instead of, as usual, thinking, now trying to...
No, you've got to look at the Constitution, which is the fundamental law first.
Yeah, so you looked at it first before bringing that law to Parliament. I presuppose that you looked at it first. You think that law is consistent. And you advise the president, I think that was on the 6th January 2009 when he was leaving office, just assented it.
But at least Parliament must. So why?
Yeah.
So
I think
Parliament could have removed that.
I think that I'm saying that he looked at it and he knew it was consistent with the Constitution. So for me, I'm not arguing with you on that basis, but I think that once it is consistent, the president
are not considered as Constitution.
Say again.
There are other laws that are passed by Parliament.
But in the particular one, let him tell us, is it consistent with the Constitution? I believe so.
So Mr. I quote
are
here.
grateful to him.
So the president can pull up the block
It's very
anytime.
clear. The president may, by executive instrument, make written requests and issue orders to operations or providers of electronic communications networks or services, requiring them to intercept communications, provide any user information otherwise in need of law enforcement or national
security.
Yeah, but
So there is the same thing. I spoke
so
about
they
national security.
But the important point is, it is not just by the fiat. Executive instrument itself will have to go through Parliament. So
Well, not necessarily. LIs normally go,
Yes.
but sometimes executive instruments can be published by the president.
without
Sometimes they can. They don't necessarily.
well,
Some of them which are not law making, a legislative instrument.
Curfews, state of emergency,
things like that.
but state of emergencies are subject to a limited period, after which you go to Parliament.
No,
I'm
I'm saying
saying
that I can issue it.
election day, 2-3 days, I'm blocking this. That was also a limited period.
Yeah, the point is, it won't be
They
done
can issue, they can
arbitrarily.
issue.
It would be done in
It
accordance
goes by
with
executive
The law.
instrument.
Yeah, that's the law that they can get up today.
Exactly. So
And
I'm
issue that
only-
instrument
yes.
and do it today.
Instrument is
They don't
easier
need to
than
consult
LI.
anybody. They don't need to beg anybody for it.
Well,
They can do it.
then
Mr.
the good thing is that it is not a power given to the police. So they will have to convince the president that there is an appropriate situation, a threat to national security, and the president should also act in accordance with the law, the Constitution. The president's duty includes the maintenance of law,
Upholding of
the
law.
Constitution.
Exactly.
So if the president disagrees with them, this so-called facility will not be implemented.
Yeah, but if the president agrees with them, yes, he
Of
can
course,
invoke
so
this.
that
yes,
has to be clarified.
Yeah. And he's not obliged to disagree.
In any case, it's a discretionary
another,
power.
It's his power.
Discretionary power should be exercised within law.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's the law.
Not
The law says
capriciously.
he can do it.
Not
You see,
capriciously.
and the point I want to add is that, you see, sometimes you look at the practicality of the order you are making, and on the day, you see, do we like to create suspense? Because if you block social media of no communication, then the normal Ghanaian thinking is that there is a collusion,
something happening.
something is going on.
Right.
So the minute you now release it, even a week after,
And then there's so much
there's
speculation.
so much desperation,
And
and
that-
something goes untoward.
That
It
is
even
where
gives room-
where we will expect those people who speak for Supreme Court to come and tell that ordinary Ghanaian that
This is
the law. This is the position of the law, and then the
But
But where is the Supreme Court in
No,
this?
I say I take those who speak for the Supreme Court.
Mr. Supreme, Mr. Where is the Supreme Court in this?
Agama is that.
Yes, Mr. Puku was on the floor.
No, we
please.
have the NPP pathetics. NPP pathetics speaking, claiming to speak for the Supreme Court. That is why we will require their services to go tell that ordinary Ghanaian we are referring to.
We can move on.
Yes,
I'm done.
Mr. Apia. Well, your
That is
point was
the
made.
response of the law.
We can move on. I'm done.
Just as the question of the law.
I
Okay.
think that the
Just a minute,
social media itself can even engender confidence in the
Mr.
elections.
Pop, hold on to that thought. The show goes on. We were looking at the proposed social media clampdown on election day by the IGP, and I'll be taking some messages in respect of that issue. Somebody says, please, Abna, social media should be shut down because people use social media to pollute the atmosphere. Therefore, I agree with the IGP. Silas Owusu Setre from Kumasi says, sometimes I wonder if the country is for the police force. If they reckon they have that capacity to ban it, then why don't they use the same capacity to comprehend the culprits who make those heinous, apprehend the culprits who make those heinous remarks. Next time, okay, no, so somebody says, good morning, Abna. I think the IGP's proposal must be considered because they know better the standard or level of insecurity we are facing as a country. In Ghana, we ignore what actually threatens the security of this country. The posture of the NPP and NANADO must be questioned. When NPP said they will physically go to stop people who registered with NHIS cards from voting, we were all quiet on it.
Where did Nana say that?
Patrick Kandinga is saying, shutting down social media would simply epitomize their lack of ability, capacity, and skills to provide security for the polls. I want to believe no ulterior motive is influencing this proposal. If the police foresee the EC ensuring a fair election, then why do they need to shut the social media unless they foresee EC failing? The blocking issue is ambiguous. You can't block internet and leave FMs and TVs. In 2012, the press were prevented from taking part in special voting. In 2016, they want to shut down the use of social media. How then can you, the media, send information to media houses as quickly as possible when emergency arises? This is for Mickey in Edra. Please, Abna, social media should be shut down because people used to, I think I already read this. We'll go back to the issue and wrap up and then go on to talk about the electricity tariffs. I think, Mr. Opon, you wanted to make...
Well, I was saying that I think we should not also discount the importance of social media on election day and even the next day, as our friend said, because, I mean, there's so much mistrust in the system. And I would say that if, for example, we get to know of what, let's say, the eye of God polling station, the actual votes that were cast immediately, and people start putting them together, as declared at that polling station, the final result will be that people will not just solely depend on what they may consider to be, quote and unquote, discredited strong room, or now they may not even be strong room results, but that they had it as declared by the EC official at the polling station and put them together. And as somebody said, the journalist in the hand of God, what do you call it, polling station, how is he going to communicate to, let's say, Accra, otherwise than maybe by WhatsApp or even email? And the evidence is also that, even at the last election, some state media even had it wrong. They published that somebody has won. It turned out that the following day, it was not true. So let's just be measured. Yes, let's use the appropriate, yes, as Honorable said, but the total shutdown. And again, if that is going to happen, then there must be a central point where votes from polling stations will be recorded in the regions. So, you know, remember the 1992 one at the Black Star Square? Even though that one they used pen, felt pen and maybe JBD and so on to record. We can do the same thing here. In all the constituencies, in all the regional capitals, and in Accra, once the people in my polling station vote, it should be recorded for everybody to see. And this will remove all these misapprehension and mistrust. Then even the social media will become irrelevant, because if I know that if I put up a falsehood, you can easily cross-check the next time at the constituency office of EC boldly in the public. Then there will be no, because that's where else where people vote in space, and yet what they vote in space is recorded on earth. So if we do that, then I will agree that whether social media or not, we will be fine. So let us not discount the importance of social media, especially on the day of declaration of results. Whilst at the same time, we also caution ourselves that you will not gain anything by putting out falsehood when in fact you are very sure that this is something you cannot prove, or because you hate someone, you say he has lost election, only to turn around that. And the best way, just declare that this is just provisional.
Very well. Mrs. Chimesapia, you were shaking your head.
Yes, I mean, we are narrowing this thing down to resolve resource. I think there's a bigger picture here. What they are saying is we using social media to cause mayhem. Yes, results can even wait. I can take video, whatever, it will wait. But when somebody tells me that my brother in Kumasi has been killed just because he's a Bono man, and I have had a assassinated man in Sene, what do you think will happen at that time? And I see vivid pictures. It may be lies. Oh, your brother was killed among this crowd. I didn't see my brother's face, but I can see crowd fighting and somebody being lynched.
My taxi.
What do you think will happen there? If I don't see the image, maybe I'll find out. But once you see those images, look at Rwanda. What happened? Same electronic media. If I'd been in print, maybe most people cannot even read the right.
It is on radio station.
Electronic communication. It's electronic. See, this thing, that's what we're narrowing down to Facebook and WhatsApp.
No, but that is the issue.
Yeah.
That is the
no,
issue.
social media, he even asked a question, and I think we should define it well. He even asked a question at his preamble, when you're beginning. Yeah. I think you did ask what does social media mean? Yes. Does it mean radio? But me, in my view, it's about electronic communication.
It's okay, but
you understand? But what I'm saying is that it doesn't relate to only, yes, but only the resource.
Yes.
No, we are emphasizing you're bringing another side, which is also important. Very important.
Yes. So what I am saying is that we should look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture is anything.
That you wait for another day.
No, anything. No, but he even said, my good friend here even said that, okay, even that day itself, the one day, means nothing. Is that not what you said?
Yes.
So if it means nothing, why are we worried?
Mr. Chimesapia is raising issues because we're looking at election results and declaration, and then also the likelihood of people causing fear and panic. Exactly. So he's throwing that into the mix as well.
That is why the populace should be made aware that there are consequences for some of these things, and that is why I brought in that we spread so many roles. The children are spoiled. If people know that there are consequences for their actions, they will not do that. The only reason Ghanaians do things and everybody will just use their editing software on their phone and put something up on WhatsApp because they think that it's harmless. Because the only thing that people do things in Ghana now is they do not see the punishment that comes with it. Okay, there are so many facets of society.
But that is why I had the difficulty. If I take such a video and want to doctor it, and send him the original one, but any other means somebody in US, he sends it there. We are going to prosecute the person.
The origination of anything, you see, even if you bounce it around the world 10 times, the origination of anything can be traced.
Yeah, but if you trace it, can you prosecute the person?
Yes.
No,
there are, you see, my point is that.
Please, we need to be wrapping up on this.
That's fine. The fact there are no laws does not mean that, you see, it does not mean that you can go out there and do it without.
That is what this exactly means. There are cases that has happened. Somebody stalked somebody, killed the person, whatever, laid the person to his grave. It was a case that we're looking at. The person said, look, in my country, it is not a crime. He was talking to somebody in Ghana. In my country, it's not a crime. I'm living in Nigeria, I'm doing it in Nigeria, it's not a crime. How do you prosecute such a person? You go arrest him in Nigeria, or you ask Nigerian police to arrest him and prosecute him?
I'm not a lawyer, but it's conspiracy.
Conspiracy. You know what it means?
Well, conspiracy.
That's fine. My Latin teacher told me conspiracy means conspirar in Spanish. Brief together. Brief, is that not like brief together? That's fine. Yeah. So it means that the
agreement should be criminal.
Once I brief together with you, that's conspiracy.
We can agree to do other things. Yes.
I think on this note we can move on.
That's what conspiracy means.
We can move on now to the electricity situation. Currently, we are faced with high electricity tariffs, and then recent times we've had this issue about the overbillings some consumers of electricity have experienced. The PURC, the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, has come out to actually give a directive to the ECG that they should suspend the operation of their billing software. Well, whilst that addresses one side or one aspect of the equation here, we still have the issue of the cost of electricity or the price of electricity to deal with. I mean, a number of issues have come up. The cost of production has increased. The power mix of the country has changed. We are now depending more on thermal and less on hydropower and all of that. So we'll be looking at this issue, particularly narrowing down to the billing software and then some faulty meters as well. What are we doing about that, the PURC? What is the PURC doing, or what can be done to mitigate the plight of consumers? Mr. Kujupoko, I'll start with you. The situation that we currently have on our hands, the directive of the PURC, to what effect? To what end?
I honestly don't see what the directive is. You see, let me give a bit of a background to the situation. In 2015, and the migration of Electricity Company of Ghana's operations into one software was embarked on by a World Bank funded project, okay? And the software is called Customer Management System, CMS. They piloted it early 2015. They were comfortable with it. In September 2015, they now rolled it out nationwide, migrated customer service, billing, and everything onto the CMS. Yes, after they migrated every system onto it, they realized that there were billing challenges. Some people were not being billed for like 3 months. Some people were not being billed in the right cycle. And these are situations that only apply to post-paid customers, no prepaid customer. They have had this challenge. There's a big case of Bread and Wine restaurant in Osu. The minister, Honorable Jenna Paul, even said on one platform that he himself went there and they were getting enormous bills. They went through all channels. And today, as we speak, the company folded up because they couldn't pay the huge bills that were being given by them. Now, my challenge to this whole thing is that we've had this situation oncoming from September till December, when the new increment now came, the December 14 increment. Right. Then everybody started shouting at look, this is too much. Some of us argued that yes, because we've migrated from mostly hydro to thermal, and about 78 to 80% of our generation mix is now thermal, we should allow this new increment to come on so that we don't have under-recoveries in the sector, because the car powers and all these generating plants that are coming on board, if we can't pay for them, then there's going to be under-recovery like what happened in the petroleum sector. So some of us argued for that increment in December 14th. Only to find out that in 1st January 2016, there was another backdoor increment that the populace didn't know. That also has its own taxes on electricity. On top of that, there's a VAT and all that's on there. Then everybody started crying. We can't afford. TUC went on demonstration. Everybody was, there was outcry from January to May. Then all of a sudden, we are being told that there's a software error. Or I think Honorable Mutaka made that statement, and others have jumped onto it that, it's a software error that is causing the high billing. But it's not true.
But this was clearly a statement made by the PRO, even before the Honorable Minister made that comment as well. The PRO of ECG actually said that. There was a software billing.
No, for post-paid customers. But you see, what the populace is, this is what I think. The proverbial, you sit with your wife, your child is doing something wrong, your wife now slaps the child, the child cries and comes, Daddy, mommy beats me. Oh, don't worry, I'll beat mommy for you. Government is trying to make it seem like they are on the side of the people, so they are going to talk to and resolve it. I read somewhere that the president is forming a committee to look into this.
That's fine.
What the government is refusing to understand is what 95% of Ghanaians are talking about. Is high electricity bill brought on by the December 14th increase and the January 1st increase. Yes, let me explain again. The manner in which the ECG bills, that is what people should look at. Recently, about 2-3 months ago, if you buy graphic, in graphic, you see that ECG will insert the way in which they bill, okay? And nobody paid attention to it. What happens is that if you are a low-end user, between 0 to 50, you are charged a certain amount. Let's assume it's 2 cedis for a matter of argument. If in a month you only use 50 kilowatts, you are only billed 50 times 2 cedis, which will be what? 100 cedis in that month. If for the following month, you go to 51 kilowatts the following month, you no longer are charged the 2 cedis. Let's assume that the 50
so you've exceeded the threshold.
You threshold the 50 threshold. So let's assume the 0 to 50 is highly subsidized, okay, by government. So let's assume that the 50 to 100 band is 10 cedis per kilowatt. What now it means is that you no longer qualify to pay the 2 cedis from 0 to 50. Okay? What you do now is that you pay 50, or the 1 cedis that you just consumed is 51 times,
maybe 200.
no, 51, you use 51 the following month, is 51 times 10.
Not times 2.
Not times 2. You pay 51 times 10, which is 510.
Because you've reached that bracket.
Because you've gone out of the 50 bracket. So you're all of a sudden seen as a high-end user. Okay? In some cases, what the ECG is explaining again is that if you are a low-end user and you go and buy 20 cedis, the 20 cedis qualifies you to be a low-end, 0 to 50. But that should last you a month. But it doesn't. Your 20 cedis runs out. And within that month cycle, you go and buy another 20 cedis. The minute your monthly usage goes over the 50 bracket, ECG now asks you to pay back the subsidies. So the money is the same usage that you got for the 20 cedis. If within that month you go over the 50 cedis, you are now, after the 20 cedis, you have to pay back the subsidies you enjoyed in the first 20 cedis that you bought. So it's very confusing. Bottom line is that it is not the software that is causing the problem. It is the high increment. For 3 years, 2012 to 2015, we didn't really know how much we used for electricity because since 2012, we were mostly in darkness. 12 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, 8 hours. So for 3 years until 2015, 2016, January, when the so-called doomsday is over, we now faced with 24 hours of lights off within a week. 24 hours of light on within a week. Then you now can see the meter run on a daily basis. So to me, I would dare anyone to prove to me what software is causing a prepaid meter. Not postpaid. ECG has admitted that postpaid has challenges. People were getting bills of 2 million Ghana cedis and all. Those are there. But even that is about 1,000 people, 1,000 situations in the whole country. What are we talking about?
Very well.
So to me, it's neither here nor there. What Ghanaians are asking the government for is a reduction. Why do we have VAT on?
Very well.
Why do we have VAT?
Why are you asking
Why do we have VAT? Why do we have VAT? Why do we have VAT on electricity? Why do we have VAT on electricity? Okay? Why do we have VAT on electricity? What is the need for that January 1st increment? December 15 increment, we all agreed for it. But the January 1st increment, there's no need.
Who does the increment? Please educate me on this.
Very well. We'll come to you, Mr. Opon here.
Yes.
Mr. Kojopoku is veering into the price build-up of the tariffs.
Yeah.
Please take us from there.
Yes, and I'm reading from social media, the internet, and something has been attributed to the spokesperson for ECG, Mr. Boating. He's talking about complex tariff structure. He raised concern over the tariff structure currently being implemented, saying it was one of the major problems working against the company. And he described the tariffs introduced by PURC in December 2015 as complex. So this is what he says, that this means that 50 units is 17.66 Ghana cedis, while 51 units is 40.02. Then again, this is what somebody also has put out, that, and in terms of taxes, we pay VAT, NHIL, and I don't even understand why we pay VAT on electricity.
Exactly.
What is the value added to me? I mean, one VAT, NHIL, street light, NEL, I don't know what NEL is, natural electrification, where are living the street light. He says he bought 1,000. He paid VAT 129.05 Ghana cedis. National insurance 21.51 Ghana cedis. Street light 43.015 Ghana cedis. NEL 43.017 Ghana cedis. The total of the taxes alone was 236.595 Ghana cedis.
On the 1,000 Ghana cedis?
Yes, 23.66%. Taxes alone.
Tax.
Okay? So this is what is causing the problem.
Yes.
And that's why when somebody says that those of us using prepaid are not affected, I think that we have just chosen to make something complex, so we put people out. The point is that when you, if you were paying 200 Ghana cedis within, not at the time we were experiencing Dumso, but at the time we had electricity throughout, with the same gadgets, now you pay about 600 Ghana cedis. And when people say that why government, the point is that PURC have set the threshold, let's say 59%. The state knows how much it will receive from me if the billing was 59%. Now you, and then if that is 200 Ghana cedis for a week, now you are receiving 600 Ghana cedis from me for the same period, and you are saying that you are not to blame. ECG, do they put the money in their pocket? Doesn't it go into the consolidated fund? When the state or Ministry of Finance are receiving these monies, don't they have a duty to cross-check, match it against the accepted and stipulated percentage that the state has fixed? You can put government aside. I'm concerned with the state and whoever is in charge of receiving these monies. So that is the bottom line. So it is not enough to just say that moving on. What about the illegal monies that you have received? Because you cannot tax me without Parliament, which representing me, or through other institutions that Parliament has permitted, fixing this rate. That is why it's PURC. So any additional monies is the same thing as somebody took to court about, I think, Kwakwatin, about these petroleum levies. The additional, the court declared that all those levies, about 600 and something million Ghana cedis, were an illegal collection. It should be refunded. So let us not just say, oh, Nyamwadi owning sort of concept. I don't accept it. The state has a duty. If I'm to be paid 100 Ghana cedis by my employers, and I receive 120 Ghana cedis, and I continue to take this money, I will be arrested. It is stealing. The 20 Ghana cedis I continue to take. If you go to the bank, you know you have 200 Ghana cedis, you go and the 200,000 Ghana cedis. You think you can spend it without being charged with offense or even being asked to refund? The state has taken these extra monies for, there is no doubt, and even it is said that additional, whether for prepaid or postpaid, or if you like, we can look at the postpaid. PURC have themselves identified that extra monies have been taken from these postpaid people when the state was not entitled to receive it. Yes. And the lady, all that the PURC will say that we will not refund monies to you, but we will give you in the form of credit. First of all, admit that that extra monies were beyond what the threshold that by law we are to pay.
But
any such additional money.
Isn't they saying that they are going to return it in the form of credits and admission?
Oh, well, no, but it should be clear enough. And that admission should not come from PURC. It should come from the ECG, and by extension, those who receive the monies from the ECG, the state authorities. And if you don't do that, then people will set, and it happens even with petroleum. Sometimes you go to the petroleum regulation, the processes for increasing petroleum is there. There's a basket. You put items in it. Sometimes one item is even taxed twice, and we pay. And as people, all we say is that, no, that's not enough. Then you give the truth to people. If we think that the state can just tax us, why do we say that we should even, the state should go to Parliament, or authorities should go to Parliament, for Parliament to even fix how much we should pay as taxes? Then we should just allow the state to take as much as it wants from us. We should comply with laws. And I think that is one of the problems we have. It is not just enough to say that we are going, they should even stop billing. And they say they are not even going to stop using the software.
I was going to ask, I mean, if indeed they are to cease operating that software, how are they going to bill?
Oh, well, that is for them. That's why I say, when the law imposes a duty on you, you cannot decide not to comply with it because it's not convenient. They can go to them and tell them that this is how we do it. You don't sit there and say, I'll not comply with it. Comply with it, or go. They can even go to court and challenge the power of PURC to order them to seize the implementation or the application of this software. If they don't do, the law establishing PURC give them that power. The point is that PURC themselves largely They are like us. All they do is to remonstrate, complain. And how are they even going to sanction ECG? We don't care. What we care is that refund the monies you have illegally collected from us. Refund to us. That's what I'm concerned about.
Very well. Mr. Shumisi,
I once again make reference to something Mr. Ayuko said here. That we are supposed to be here
I think sometimes
educating, informing, and entertaining the public as per the role given to the media. So if we have this opportunity, I think it's about time we also inform, entertain, and educate. And it is wrong for anybody to say that ECG collects money for government. That is not true. That is completely false and a complete lie. We should not be sitting here peddling this falsehood. ECG collects money for the organization. If indeed there's anything to be given to government, that is by way of what dividends. And I said, what
about the taxes?
I'm coming.
The taxes.
Wait, hold on.
The taxes.
Mr. Paul.
The taxes are for the tax authorities, and I'll come to those taxes. So they don't collect money for government. ECG does not collect money for government.
The taxes.
So let's go. We shouldn't be peddling falsely. They don't collect money for government. Now, this tax system, you'll be saying that about some accountant. That accounts also have a problem. That the person who brought sugarcane to the house brought the flies. The person who brought the sugarcane to the house brought the flies. Why? That's very same. We are talking about national health insurance labor. Who introduced that particularly? And do not we know that under the law we ought to pay national insurance?
Wait a minute.
Do we not know?
I will do that. Mr. Paul, take it easy. I will get to that.
Second,
I'll get to that.
somebody has produced energy. That person is selling the energy to an institution. And under the law, the MPs who made the law, or the MPP who brought that law to Parliament, is saying that when that service is given or is provided, it ought to be taxed. You understand? We all agree to it. Since 2001 coming up to date, we haven't made any comment as to who should pay, who should not pay. We have not questioned that. And as Attorney General, you used to bring those laws.
No. Mr. Kojopoku, just a minute. Mr. Kojopoku, please. No. Mr. Kojopoku, please relax. He has the floor. Let him land. Please. You will have your turn to rebut.
It's not me.
Please,
so
carry on.
ECG has collected your money. Either through taxes or whichever means you want your money back. You don't say, let's go out government. Government has not collected your money. ECG has through some means which you will want to describe as illegal or whatever it is. And that is why I remember in 2002, 2003, about when this issue of this deregularization came in, some of us warned against it. That time, my good friend, Mr. Ayuko, too, supported it in full. Came to Parliament, he said he doesn't used to come, but he used to come. Make good argument for deregularization. This is what is being applied to us today. The very law that you put in place, the percentage is everything, they're still there. You understand? People may talk about addition. Why? What's wrong with that? VAT was passed. How much was the rate? When you came to power 2001, what happened to VAT? Okay? So those ones, I don't think we should be sitting here. And once again, President Kufuor said something in 2001.
But it's only recently that VAT is being put on electricity.
Say again?
It's only recently that VAT is being put on electricity. So indeed, yes, it was passed way back. But it's only recently that it's been put on.
But so what?
No, you are making anyways.
So what? So if even they put VAT even on this your camera, so what? Parliament has approved it. I'm not turning around. What I am saying,
please allow
you have sat here. Even the problem was quarter, not even one. You sit here now and tell me it was only one that was only affecting the postpaid payers. So government has no right to say that, oh, this is what this even taking your own words. Government has no right to go into that postpaid matter and then resolve it. You sitting here, it means a quarter of the Tesla is affected. You said one matter. Government has no right to do that. I mean, what are you talking about? So that if somebody receives money, and then you say, look, the money is, you are not supposed to collect that money. Give my money back. Then the person will go back to where the money was given, who collected that money from me.
And where did that money go? Is the question.
Yeah, exactly. And then they bring your money back. But for us, we put in the blame. For me, to be honest with you,
but where did that money go is a question we are asking.
Where
do they go to?
The levy.
Because they're saying, yes.
They are collected by government, of course.
Oh, okay.
So I don't have the right to ask the
Exactly.
government to
So-
refund to me the extra
Government
money.
did not the government did not collect money from you. Somebody collected on behalf of the government. And in fact, there are even exemptions under the VAT law that you pay the VAT, and if they use it to produce something or if they use it for equipment or something, they can go back and claim it back. There is refund under the VAT Act that if I imported this material to produce this water and then I collect VAT from you and give to government, I can go back under the law and collect that VAT back and use it for the same purpose of which I paid the VAT. So for all you know, ECG can even go back to government and say, yes, I collected the VAT for you, but I need more to buy transformer, or I bought a transformer and this is what which I paid the tax. So give my money back. Government is obliged under the law to refund money.
What about the man who is
I am coming.
Listen,
Well, the man is
listen,
you know how to defend Supreme Court when it comes to election. Go to Supreme Court and go and tell them that look, somebody has brought your money illegally. You are lawyer, go and do that. No, go and do that. So let me make
Please go on.
if there are any problems, my friend has said, I use some of these meters myself and I pay. You understand? I pray that those problems be solved. But to be very honest, we have no sympathy. And even that me alone, all these subsidies should be removed. Draft figure for all of us. Because I don't see how my grandfather or my grandmother in my village benefit from this subsidy. At all. My grandfather doesn't use the blender, none of these issues they are talking about.
You are using to pay extra. That is how it's affecting them.
He doesn't use any of these things. Probably one bulb. And if the boy he comes from the farm, switch it on, pack his or her things, and then the morning away to the farm. He comes back. So the source is not getting to the people that he intended to get to. So for me alone, I have no sympathy. Like Kofo said when he came to power, let's let's use what you can pay for and pay for what we use. 2001 state of nation like this. Let's pay for, let's use what we can pay for and pay for what we use. As I'm leaving my house, I left my house around 5:30. The main switch, the changeover, whatever people call it, it wasn't even bulb to bulb. Switch it off. That's what I do in my house. Say again.
No,
Sorry,
please carry
it
on.
wasn't meant for you.
No, I live with people. But what's the business? The food is already cold. I do it myself. Yes, because I cannot afford. Paying all this money you are mentioning. So in the night when I'm coming to sleep, I cook my food and everything. 12 hours to be able to cook whatever food I put in there. In fact, even the elephant meat. Even the elephant meat. In fact, even the elephant meat, I can cook it. So for you to sit down here and create the impression as if it is somebody's fault, you yourself establish the what do you call the Regulation Act. You brought it to us. Parliament passed it under the act. It said that we should be paying certain percentage towards the use of electricity. We are paying it, and now you come and sit here today. Say go ask government. Ask government about what? You are the very people who sat. I remember one of the Tamale rallies when Mr. Kwazipa holding gallons and beating it, telling the whole Ghana that when we come, we reduce electricity. What happened? My good friend, Honorable Kanapa, was Minister for Energy. What happened? You increase for more than 300%. When you're going, how much was electricity? Petrol and electricity. Oh. What are you talking about? Petrol and electricity. And I asked Kanapa that question. He himself told me that until he came into government, he don't know that there were two types of affordability. One of them with double F, one with single F. Asking, he will tell you that's why he said in Parliament in the hands out. And you are telling me what? That they are as if it's a new thing.
Spoke about energy.
Yes, all of them. And then you set up the rule and the electricity, and you said that this is a percentage we pay at the regulation. We are paying it today. If there are errors, like my good friend here is saying, please, with all the good hearts on earth, they should go after the errors, resolve them, and make sure that we are paying our due. We will not sit down, and I also support him for the earth to incur debt, put them down. Another government comes, like Dr. Koto did, third debt recovery, which was never recovered. After paying it for 8 years, never recovered.
Those who say they paid,
never recovered. You understand? Third recovery, the other was never recovered, but we paid it for 8 years. But that is one way to incur more debt. That is one way. So let's use what we can pay for and pay for what we use. Finish.
Just a minute, please let him. Are you done?
Are you a pilot?
Okay, that's okay.
When they are saying the truth, the no one you say.
Mr. Tuko is on the floor.
Are you quiz the name?
Sorry, are you? I keep on saying that, yes.
Is it on the meter or what? You just answer before I move.
Which one?
Is it a meter problem?
He was saying that.
No, I'm asking you. The problem we are
And to
having.
be honest with you, if I claim to know what the problem is, I will be.
Please, can you capture this on
dishonest.
social media?
What is that?
They managed to put the problem on meter. That somebody has decided to kill the meter before he dies. I will kill you before I die.
You see, this is why the IGP want to put the plug. This is just not something not.
You people have
This
not
thing happen when. This thing happen when. You see the social media.
Please allow Mr. Ayikwe to carry on.
before he dies.
Some of the prepaid.
Hello. Look, Mr. Chubasi Apia, whatever you say, we are having difficulty with the cost of doing business when it comes to energy. We have done the comparative study. It is clear that what we are paying Ghana is too high. Now, Mr. Opon listed all the taxes and levies. You are saying there's nothing we can do about them?
Say again?
Assuming we look at per kilowatt hour, whatever we charge, we produce and charge.
What about, please? He's asking me a simple
what
thing.
about all the
taxes
taxes and
you
the
had the
levies?
opportunity to have done something, reduce even the rate, the level, the percentage.
Please,
You did
Mr.
not do
Chimesi,
it.
yes,
Nana
If it was
has
feasible,
said,
if you could have done something, you have done it.
Nana said, please reduce them.
Just the
if
same thing you
cannot,
said during the
then
2000
we will
election, and you never reduced anything.
We will
Please
come.
allow him.
Please,
He
I
asked me
believe,
whether
I
there's something
believe
we could have
it's a very simple thing. You have taxes, you have
taxes,
levies,
that's all.
which are not necessarily part of the cost, cost of production. And say, remove those things or reduce them. Why should this be a problem? I don't see it. I think Nana said it all. When he comes, he will look at the levies and the taxes, reduce them, and Ghanaians will have peace. Everybody is complaining.
Mr. Chimesi.
People are not happy with these high taxes. Look, we pay taxes in our offices, buy electricity, and we do the same thing at home. And if you used to buy, say, 2 million, and all of a sudden you are buying 3.5. Yes.
200
Now you
Ghana.
200. Now it's 350, 400. When you used to buy it for 3 weeks or for 1 month, and now it is 10 days, 12 days, you are happy with that?
I think he's telling you the reason.
What
He
reason?
just gave you the breakdown.
What reason?
When you were 50 and then you go instead of.
And you were the
gave you the
people
reason.
who added on all these taxes, and you cannot do anything. So what is the committee supposed to do? Tell me. That committee you have set up.
Which committee?
The president said
Yes,
that
the committee. What is it supposed to do?
I'm sorry, they didn't take their terms of reference from me.
Oh, okay.
So yes, right.
They did not
Mr.
take their
Ayikwe,
terms of
but
please
reference.
carry on with your point.
are
Yes.
you
So
hoping-
I will not sit here and speculate.
Okay.
That the committee
Are
was
you
doing this.
hoping
But
that-
I'm hearing it for the first time from you.
Are you hoping that at the end of the day, at the end of the day, this thing is going to come down? You are going to reduce?
I said I haven't set
Mr.
up
Ayikwe,
any
he says he
committee.
doesn't know anything
And I
about it, so
haven't given
please
anybody
carry on
this.
with your, yes.
I'm compelled to talk to him because he's representing government here.
I'm not representing
Well,
the
he said he's not. He said he's not. Please, make your point.
No, I think that, as I said, Nana said it all.
Cost of
production-
lawyer representing government. Are you
Mr.
representing
Chimesi, please
MPP?
allow-
Cost
please
of
allow
production-
Mr. Ayikwe to
Cost
Right.
of production, fine.
No,
I
not
have-
Mr. Pong.
But
are.
all the taxes and levies are just too high. Reduce them, or when we come, we shall reduce them. Simplicity, that's all.
But we see
Well,
some before.
no,
We have seen some. In 2000 we had the same more than this. In 2000 we had more than
Mr.
this.
Chimesi Apia, please.
I think that
When we're going about with gallons,
Yes, in
Mr.
2000.
Ayikwe,
were we carrying meters?
Say again. Any case of no, you're
Please,
case
now,
of in addition.
please.
Gallons. Because you couldn't go to remove anybody's gallon. You couldn't go and remove anybody's gallon. So you had anybody's meter. Sorry, you couldn't
Very
go and
well.
remove anybody's meter.
Your
You
point
took
is
case
made.
of
Mr. Poku is on the floor. Please,
I remember and what Bentua.
Mr. Poku is on the floor,
I
please.
think that what we all sitting here. One thing that there was one day that one presenter asked me, Mr. Poku, you're energy expert. Your meter is different. I said, how is my meter different? I get the same meter as everybody gets. We all know the hardship and the burdens. My only sadness is that since January that we've been crying, Ghanaians have been shouting. Nobody listened. It's only now, in May, that some parliamentarians have gone to their constituencies.
Right.
And no, please, let me finish. The power that be has gone now met the people and has realized, daunting in their face, that this electricity problem is real. It's not a political talk shop. It is not a propaganda. It is real. Look, people in some areas are paying more electricity than rent. Okay? And it's real day-to-day activity. And if, to me, it's better late than never. If the president has authorized the Energy Commission, PULC, and the committee he has set up to look at it, if they come back and say that, okay, there's something that can be done and there's a reduction in the bills, we will all clap for him, okay? But if it is just to come back and tell us that, oh, we looked and the bills as it is, we can't do anything about it. But then what we are saying is that, look, the simple thing that you see, the question that my brother asked was that he's trying to make it look like it's PULC that sets the electricity tariff. So what can the president do? The executive arm of government does the taxation. Yeah. Okay? When you decide to add VAT on electricity, it was done by the finance minister through parliament budget reading. The taxes, NHIL and all these things is the executive arm of government. It's not PLC. So government in its own right, without having to go to PLC, can reduce some of these things. I even talk about industries. Why are we killing industries? Industries are paying VAT, NHIL, all these things, and industry is dying. We've been in recession, retrogression, all the sessions you can talk of in the last 4 years as Ghana, country Ghana. Nobody cares. There's been no growth. There's been nothing. So to me, my sister, it's very simple. If government wants to be on our side, the president says he hears our prayer. Our prayer is that he should remove the taxes, and that will bring some good.
Just 2 minutes, wrap up, and then
the ECG are talking about political meters. I mean, what is that? You are supposed to ensure that the proper and appropriate meters are installed, for which we pay you and maintain you. They said some politicians have been installing some meters since 2014. That's the ECG. Yes. They install political meters. And you are aware of it since 2014. You did nothing about it. But you see, sometimes that is how they color situations like this, as if to give a dog a bad name and then kill it to justify it. What is called political meters? They are just running away from the fact that there have been an illegality perpetrated on us by taking monies that the state was not entitled to take from us. Two, they are able and supposed to reduce the taxes that they have put on these things. You end up paying taxes upon taxes, double taxation all over. On petroleum, you get it. On this one, you get it. I mean, to what extent can you tax us? It's as if standing in a bucket with water and then trying to pour it out. Is that possible?
Mr. Chimisi.
Yes, I want to agree with my friend that the president can do so. No, mine. Very good friend. That people are crying on one issue. But I would disagree with you that, I mean, it's as if the very person, when it comes to other issues, we are trying to, yes, and then tell the president to desist from interference. And now here we are, we're asking the president once again to go interfere with the what PLC. And the I'm coming. I just feel like this. I was coming to the taxes and levies. These are taxes and levies. No. Wait. Why? Under the deregulation system, the PRC has also gotten its own formula. You are talking about, yes, so that formula is there. If the president wants to reduce this drastically so that you and I will feel the impact, I don't think only the taxes alone will do. If he does do that, yes, I would like it. But trying to learn from the school of Mr. Eko will see it as unconstitutional and illegal. But it will amount to interference. You understand? If the president should decide, to say, well, Minister of Finance go to Parliament and all of a sudden, why? I would think that, well, the president is interfering. I mean, he should let the ball roll. I mean, we should pay. When we use the lights, we should pay.
I think we should pay.
That is my own view. We should, when we use the lights, we should pay. If we think we cannot pay, don't use it.
Okay, we'll be wrapping up on this and then last one.
Ask me a question, I'll answer you.
What happened to the investment tax?
Which investment?
Government put some tax, banking investment. What happened to it?
What happened to it? It's for investment, and then money is for investment.
No.
Are you asking whether it has
I think he's
accrued
talking
any
about the
interest?
withdrawal
Whether it has accrued any interest?
No,
or,
no.
It was withdrawn.
Are you aware it was withdrawn?
Which one was withdrawn?
He's not aware
So
of that.
basically, I think your point is that the president or the government could do something about it.
In other words, you let them continue this way to December. It's good for all of us.
Very well. So we'll wrap up on this.
Nothing
We
will
just
happen.
have about 10
Nothing will
minutes.
happen. Absolutely nothing will happen.
It's okay.
We
Absolutely
have-
nothing
we
happen.
have-
Just say that, we should reduce it. The president should go interfering in the judicial matters and then in PLC with
We
taxes
have
and
just
with
about
parliament.
10 minutes to end the show. We'll be doing a
And when it does, so
quick
don't
take.
complain.
Actually, it's 8, I'm told. We have a few minutes to touch on the relevance of the African Union Day. We celebrated AU Day on Wednesday. We had a holiday. I mean, it was good for us to rest. But we are looking at the relevance of that celebration in our current context. I will start with Mr. Chumesi Apia.
Yeah, it is good we remember African Union. And then the day we said that we whispered this law in Parliament, set out a date so that we can remember African Union. So as to enable us think about our past. What is it that we have done right, that we could have done better? What is it that we didn't do that we could have done, we could also do and then do better? So as to see Africa apart with the other continents. So I think it is in a good direction that we take that account of ourselves as Africans. What I didn't like was the holiday aspect of it. Ghana, we have too many holidays for a country of ours, too many holidays. And yet, when my good friend comes here, talk about we are not growing productivity. I mean, this day, if shutting down media, what do you call social media for one day, we are losing, the impression that we'll be losing millions. And just in terms of then just imagine, going to work for that
Very
one
well.
day, how much money we'll be losing. So for me, I think that there's too much holidays.
Very well.
But we should have had some, people should go to work. Have some workers' union symposium. Talk about the founding fathers, Kwame Nkrumah. But I can understand why some of these people are actually living at the workplaces. Because even if in Ghana, in our own country, talking about founding fathers create a debate at times undesirable ones, for my friends, then just imagine, what will happen if you decide to do so at the workplace. But I think it's a good idea.
Okay, Mr. Paul, your take on it, AU relevance.
I'm partially in agreement, especially the bottom part. I think we should be working on that day. But it's also because I don't see the relevance of AU at all. It is unnecessary. Let us just manage our affairs, internal affairs. We should first ensure we are able to unite ourselves internally in a unitary state. I don't think that we will ever even achieve anything like a united Africa with all the damage. Let us rather concentrate on what we do here. We can have separate international agreements in terms of the economic trade and so on. But to just go to a place to drink whiskey and things just in the name of a union, which we will never see, I think even UK is trying to move out from EU. So,
But it's being resisted.
Oh, well, I mean, they are going to vote anyway. But my point is, I don't see the relevance. And in addition to even the ECOWAS, we should just mind our own
Continental bodies,
business.
sub-regional bodies, they're not in
We
favor
should
of
see
any.
our fearsome, to quote the
so you
good
belong to
professor.
that school of
Oh, yes,
thought. Very well.
in all totality.
Okay.
We should see our fearsome.
Very well. Mr. Ikotu, AU, particularly looking at, Mr. Opon here has talked about the fact that he doesn't believe in that, but looking at AU and the role it plays in perhaps keeping peace and stability within the sub-region and all of that, what is your take on it?
I think for the first time, I will agree with this NDC guy.
No, you've always agreed
that
with
for
me. I know, you've
that
always agreed. Only
at
that
least he's got the pith and the kernel of whether or not there ought to be a holiday. That one I think is not necessary. We still can talk about the AU. We did a lot of things with OAU, fighting, colonialism and apartheid and all that. And we're now looking at economic integration, which is necessary. We need to work on it more of intra-African trade, and things like that. And speaking with one voice, and creating a big market where we can trade with other countries, because these small countries, what can they do on their own? I mean, talking to China, a small country like Togo, talking to China. What are they going to get out of that kind of relationship? It will be bullying all over the place. So, yes, there shouldn't be a holiday, but that we need to move on with our, integration. I agree. For the first time, with NDC, Senate, former
quite nice to witness this.
Come back in Parliament, you always agree with me. You sit here and pretend you don't even know me.
Mr. Boko.
I think it's unanimous on this panel that the holiday was not really, especially when it falls on a Wednesday. Okay,
Like midweek,
it's really
like
midweek. It really cuts the week, and it gives a semblance of a Saturday, and everybody lays back. The momentum you built on a Monday, you want to carry it through to Thursday. We always have a saying that what you've not achieved Monday to Thursday, don't attempt it on Friday. So the minute you give a Wednesday a holiday, it really disrupts the week. So I think we have too many holidays, like we've all said, and if government can take a
So you are agreeing with him?
I'm agreeing with him. We've agreed on most issues this morning. We've agreed
on a few issues.
On a lot of issues. Oh, even on the beginning issue which he disagreed, we agreed that the Supreme Court should do the right thing. When he agrees on it, we all agree. The EC should do the right thing. Yes, we've agreed all throughout on everything. We've agreed, me and him.
Wow. What beautiful notes to end the show. What a way to end
That's why you
the
people
show.
think I have problem in the
That
end.
is so
I
beautiful.
just decided to because now I live far away.
Anyways,
I want to
well.
be called an apologist, but my sister, if you allow me just 30 seconds.
Very well.
No,
Carry
no,
on.
you call it pathetic.
Something that I
everybody
noticed,
does.
something that I saw this morning that was very disheartening. Right outside the Flagstaff House, there was some digging, and they just left it. The Flagstaff House is a tourist attraction. The powers that
Security
be,
zone for that
please,
matter.
immediately, they should resolve that thing. There
Very
was some
well.
digging, and they've left the sand, everything, and right outside the Flagstaff House, facing the Christ the King, is messy.
I think your point is well made. So the Roads and Highways Authority perhaps should get to this and address it. But we will. Let's not start this. I thought we ended on a very nice note.
Those should have came to the house.
Well, Mr. Yapia,
You agree with
we are bringing the show to an end.
But look at you know how many
We
years it
wish
takes
to
you to have
thank
to take
our
how many
guests here, Mr. Chumesi Apia, former NDC MP for Sine constituency, Mr. Yao Opong, a lawyer and a lecturer of the Central University, Mr. Ikwe Otu, former AG and a member of the NPP, and Mr. Kojon Safwa Poku, an energy expert. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for bringing your perspectives to the issues. Thank you so much for watching. We'll make a date, same time next week at the same channel, same time. We'll see you. Have a good weekend. My name is Abna Tebi. Thank you.
This is what